Cold and flu season coming on up. We all know it. So when people start getting sick all across the country, medications disappear. Everybody wants it at the same time. So it's very, very smart to have a pharmacy you can count on, like All Family Pharmacy. Right now, they're helping Americans get ahead of the curve with 10% off antibiotics, antivirals, other essentials. So please go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use code BILL10 to save 10%. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right. Good morning, freedom fighters. Good morning, Ashland. Wednesday morning. Lots going on today. Chief Steve Sund is going to start us off. He's a police officer and a police chief, and some of the things he'll tell you about January 6th. Well, I'm sure you knew a lot of them, but he'll confirm a lot of those. Fake news at 9:25. Dr. Butter Cohen will be by at 9:41. Tim Jones, former Speaker of the House, our handsome afternoon guy. He's at 10:05. Kenneth Abramowitz, a great analyst, a great political analyst about China and Russia. And, this little club all of a sudden that's China, Russia, and India, three of the biggest polluters in the world, and yet everybody gets on us. Mark Harder and the chat box all coming up. Ashlyn, do you know who's going to do the Pledge of Allegiance for us this morning? You know what? Maybe you know what? Let's introduce our first guest, and maybe he can do it for us. Chief Steve Sund, how you doing? Thanks for your time today. You must be a very busy guy. We appreciate your time. How are you?
My pleasure, Vic. How are you doing?
Good. Every morning we start the show with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I'll gladly do it. Do along with you if you want.
Yep.
Ready?
Let's go. Ready to go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So let's talk about January 6th. And the request for National Guards by you, which was ignored, and nobody wants to hear that part of the story. Can you get us through that?
Absolutely. It doesn't fit their narrative. So you probably, and your listeners have probably heard President Trump saying he offered 10,000 National Guard troops. I'm a person that deals with facts, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I dealt with in advance and the communications I had with President Trump's Pentagon in reference to that offer. January 3rd, which was the Sunday before Wednesday, January 6th, was the first day of the 117th Congress. It's a big day on the Hill. All the new members of Congress are sworn in, regardless of the day of the week. It's always going to be on January 3rd. It just happened to fall on Sunday. That Sunday, I went and requested National Guard support from the House and Senate Sergeant Arms. I am the only chief of police in the United States of America that if I want to bring in any federal support for my men and women in my department, I have to go and get permission by law. It's federal law 2 U.S. 1970. So that morning I went and requested National Guard to support my perimeter. I didn't want armed National Guard, just unarmed National Guard, because I only had 273 officers to put on my perimeter. It wasn't based on any intel that we were going to get attack or have a huge riotous crowd there. It was just because I felt I didn't have enough people to staff the fencing I had down on the perimeter. So the House Sergeant Arms, who was Paul Irving didn't like the optics of the National Guard on the Capitol, said the intel didn't support it and wouldn't approve it. He then referred me over to the Senate Sergeant Arms, Michael Stenger, who is the chairman of the Capitol Police Board. Michael Stenger also wouldn't approve it, specifically based because Paul wouldn't approve it. So later on that day, this is still Sunday, about 11 o'clock, probably about, right around 11:40 that day, a call comes in from Carol Corbin of the Pentagon. She controls the civil support for domestic, Anyway, she supports the National Guard support for domestic law enforcement, civil support for domestic agencies. She called offering National Guard support. The Pentagon offered it. By law, I couldn't accept it, so I had to tell her no. So let me now fast forward to January 6th. January 6th, about 12:41, we're dealing with the pipe bomb at the Republican National Committee just south of the Capitol. 12:53, we come under attack on the West Front. A couple hundred people come across. A small group of people in that group starts fighting with my officers. I see it's not good. They're breaking through the perimeter. They're now coming onto the West Front. 12:58, I make my first call to the House Sergeant at Arms. I'm still required by law to request permission to bring in federal resources. There's 155 National Guard within eyesight of the Capitol. Paul Irving says, let me run it up the chain. That's to go to Speaker Pelosi and get permission. He'll call me right back. He's got a liaison officer sitting right behind me watching what I'm watching on the screens. I hang up the phone. I see my officer still, battling on the West Front. I pick up the phone, call Mike Stinger, who's now the chairman, and said, I immediately need assistance of National Guard support. He asked, what did Paul Irving tell you? I said, he's going to run it up the chain. He goes, let's wait to hear from Paul Irving. 11 phone calls. 71 minutes later, I finally get approval to bring in federal resources. Think about that. It took 81 minutes for that crowd to fight its way to the Capitol and break the first window of the Capitol. For 71 of those minutes, I was repeatedly denied to bring any federal resources for my men and women.
So it sounds to me like Donald Trump is the last person they should blame for any of this, right? The Sergeant at Arms, Nancy Pelosi, if they had acted, January 6th wouldn't happen, and they wouldn't have the narrative of January 6th that they have now by calling it an insurrection.
You're 100% right. And the congressional reports from the current January 6th committee under Chairman Barry Loudermilk put out a report, I think it was in March of 23, that it stated exactly what you said. If the Sergeant at Arms had approved Sun's request, chances are the perimeter would have never been breached on January 6th. We wouldn't be here talking right now.
So you've testified in front of a Senate committee and a House committee, once in 2021, once in 2023. Those are long, laborious days, right? When you have to sit there in front of all of them and they answer your questions, and one side of the aisle says, we thank you for what you do for your country, and then the other side of the aisle says, you're terrible, you're an insurrectionist. So those two, well, I don't know if you want to take them both at once or one at a time, but what do you think came out of those hearings when you testified?
So the very first hearing, which was February 23rd, 2021, was the combined Senate hearing. They didn't want me to testify. They were not going to call myself. They were not going to call the two Sergeant at Arms. I had to call somebody on the committee and say, I promise you, I will show up. And for 4.5 hours, I showed up. They asked some really good questions. I thought they were fairly reasonable. They put out a report that began to look into some of the problems we had with intelligence, problems that we had with the DOD failing to respond. Even once I got permission to bring in DOD, they didn't arrive for hours later. Matter of fact, the New Jersey State Police, because I put out a request for mutual aid from all law enforcement in the area, New Jersey State Police beat the National Guard, who were within eyesight of the Capitol, to get to the Capitol. So they did a fairly decent job of starting it. Then you had the January 6th Select Committee come in that didn't even want me to testify in public. We had a very contentious behind the closed door interview. They didn't want to hear the narrative that I was telling them, that I had the facts to support. They didn't want to see any involvement of leadership in any decision making that day. And now there's video of Nancy Pelosi saying she's responsible for the National Guard not being there. So that was an absolute farce. Nothing really came out of that. And then Chairman Barry Loudermilk started the most recent committee, and he's been doing a fairly good job to get to the bottom of what happened. What were the intelligence failures that happened that day? What were the affairs with security on the Hill? So he's actually been supporting a number of the issues I've been raising the red flag on since January 6th.
So I think the first thing that the new Select Committee should investigate is the other Select January 6th committee, when they had nobody. I mean, I've never seen proceedings like this where not one person testified in favor of what Donald Trump did. And all the things that they cut him off when he said peacefully and patriot, they cut that out, right? And besides them investigating January 6th, they should investigate the first Select Committee, which was a kangaroo court.
Yeah, there's been a lot of concerns raised about, what happened with the committee, what happened with the evidence that they had, they wouldn't turn over. A lot of your listeners may not realize that some of the videos, if they watch the videos that the select committee showed on Prime TV of some of the people fighting inside the Capitol, you heard a lot of riotous sounds. None of my cameras inside the Capitol have audio.
Wow.
They imported that sound.
Wow.
So think about it. Imagine if a chief of police, that's evidence. Imagine if a chief of police had changed body-worn camera in dash card camera to change the audio. That would be top news.
Well,
but you never heard much about that.
One thing that bugged me about the video and stuff that they used a piece of video of Senator Josh Hawley from our state of Missouri here running out of the building to make him look like a little coward, when actually he was the last person to run out. There was a mass of people before him that ran out, but they didn't show that. I mean, the whole thing was so ridiculous. It was unfair, just like the left is, just like the media is, and they make me sick, Chief. They make me sick.
Yeah, you're right. They did go through. They cherry picked a lot of the video that they showed. The fact that they brought in a Hollywood producer to produce it right there should have been the number one key that this was just going to be a show. It would have been nice if they would have focused on what were the big issues that occurred. What communications did, like General Milley have with members of Congress before or during January 6th. Some of the things that may reveal some stuff. We'll see. Chairman Loudermilk, I know he's working hard, and I hope he continues looking at these things. I'm not sure what their marching orders are for this one, but it's supposed to be starting up here soon.
We're talking to Police Chief Stephen Sund. Can we get back to the pipe bomb for a minute? Two of them, right? One out front of the RNC, one out front of the DNC. We never found out anything about those pipe bombs. And I hate when they keep information like this from the American people just to, make themselves look better, the opposite party look bad. But what about those pipe bombs? Was there any conclusion on that?
No conclusions. I'm just as baffled as you are. You're talking probably one of the most secure areas of one of the most secure cities, security-wise, in the country, if not the world. And they haven't been able to solve that. I think there's a huge puzzle piece there. There were two identical devices. They were put together in such a way that they had the right ingredients. And when you talk about black powder, I think there was just enough so a dog would maybe trigger on it to get somebody to say, hey, that looks like a pipe bomb. I think it was the first one that we found at 1241 down at the RNC, which is just south of the Capitol. I think absolutely was a diversionary tactic. I just think the timing on both is very suspect. And I'm very surprised that no one has been found and held accountable for that.
It makes me crazy. I swear to God, the things they keep from the American people, and they always talk about the American people. Most of the American people think this, and most of the American people think that, with no proof, no documentation, just their opinion, and they're always wrong. All right. So, Chief, what are you doing these days?
Doing a lot of media lately on the federalization of law enforcement. But besides that, I do a lot of teaching. I'm doing some security consulting. Whatever I can do to help law enforcement, still talk to law enforcement on a daily basis, whether it's across the country or those in DC. Still have a great relationship with my officers on Capitol Hill. Still, waiting to find out what's next. But anything I can do to support law enforcement, I'm out there.
How can we find out more about you if we search for you?
At Chief Sund on X. Just go to at Chief Sund, SUND. I'm there. I did put out a book. I would never plan to write a book. I just started doing an after action report once Nancy Pelosi yanked me out, and I got pulled out of my office, stripped of all my access to all my stuff. I keep really good notes. I learned that after 30 years in law enforcement, and put out a book. It's Courage Under Fire, the definitive account from within the Capitol on January 6th. The paperback is the most up-to-date version. There's a whole lot people don't realize about it. If you're interested, take a look at it. It's on Amazon.
There's so many things we don't know. And in some cases, militarily especially, we don't need to know all that we know, right? But in some cases, we don't get to know what we should know. And we should get to know. We don't know what we should get to know is what I'm trying to say. And it would be great if the government got their act together, told us what we should know, and keep what we don't need to know from us. That's just.
Well, they should give you the facts. My whole thing is give the people the facts, let them do the critical thinking. I don't need the government to tell me what I need to know. Just give me the facts so I can analyze it myself. If there's stuff that's classified that I don't need to know, I agree. Let's keep that so we can maintain our security posture. But the American people can make decisions on their own. Give the people the facts and let them analyze it.
Well, I looked you up on X. I followed you. It'd be really kind of cool if Chief Stephen's son followed me back. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I hear you loud and clear.
All right, Chief. Thanks for your time. It was a crazy day, and we never got the true story. Maybe this new select committee will give us the truth and some answers.
They're doing a good job. I hope so too. Thank you very much, Vic.
Thank you. Boy, oh boy. I mean, they love to say insurrection. They love to say Donald Trump incited an insurrection, and this is a guy who was right there and personally asked for the National Guard to come in. Sergeant at Arms said no. Nancy Pelosi said no. And it was all to make President Trump look bad. And, I looked him up. I looked up Chief Stephen's son on X, and he looks like a badass you don't want to mess around with. All right, coming up next, one of our favorite features. It's called Fake News. Ashlyn doing a great job this week. Thank you, Ashlyn, so much. Hello. Say hi. Hi. Fake News is next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at News Talk STL. News Talk STL, always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com.
All right, so let me draw a little scenario for you, right? You're out in your backyard, you're enjoying, maybe you got the fire pit going, right? You got some cocktails going, and all of a sudden, your wife comes up and slaps you in the head, right? I mean, my wife does that for fun, but she could, there was a mosquito on you. I just wanted to get the mosquito. And you're like, honey, do you have to slap me in the head? Can't we just call Mosquito Joe? Wouldn't that be much easier and less painful to me? Mosquito Joe will do just that, okay? And bugs like mosquitoes, and not just mosquitoes, ticks, gnats, chiggers that ruin the family fun, right? Nobody wants to be talking to neighbors and you're slapping your arms and your wife's slapping your head. Again, my wife just does that for fun. I'm kidding. She does not. She likes me. I'm pretty sure she likes me. But Mosquito Joe will take care of it, and it will protect your family and your pets, okay? Your pets are safe. No long-term contracts, by the way, and they'll even handle all the scheduling for you. So win the battle against bugs. Call Mosquito Joe, and guess what? They've got $25 off any new service with Mosquito Joe. Just mention Vic. If you say Handsome Vic, that's optional, but just make sure you get Vic in there. But if you want to say Handsome Vic, that's fine. And that offer is good through October 1st. 1-855-ASK-A-JOE. Mosquito Joe. They make outdoors fun again.
Looking for treasures from the past? Discover Mimi's Antiques Attic, your locally owned and family-operated treasure hunt destination. Explore 16,000 square feet of antiques, crafts, collectibles, and designer items across 225 unique rental spaces. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 7, and Sundays, 10 to 6 at 1000 Warrenton Shops in Warrenton. Mimi's Antiques Attic, where every visit uncovers new treasures.
This is Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the #1 RE/MAX franchise in the region. As a licensed real estate broker with RE/MAX Results for over 20 years, I've seen the ups and downs of many real estate markets, including the one we're in right now. With the spring market in full swing, now is the time to leap into the buying or selling of your home. Someday is not a day. Today is the day to make your move. Call me at 314-852-8933 or email me at markhardersells@gmail.com.
Hey, News Talk STL listeners, this is Levi, CEO of Reach Reproductive Health. There was a huge gap left when the biggest pregnancy center in St. Louis had to close their doors right after Amendment 3. But by God's grace and power, Reach has been able to step into that space. We have acquired Thrive centers and are continuing operations in greater St. Louis. I have a request for you. Would you pray and consider getting to know Reach more? We are here to see babies saved and families transformed by the power of Christ. Get to know us on our Reach community website, outreachforlife.org. That's outreachforlife.org.
That's traffic. Okay, welcome home to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That is Ashlyn filling in for Kenny this week. Kenny's off vacationing. I hope having a great time. Still to come here, Bonner Cohen, Dr. Bonner Cohen from CFACT will be by at 9:41. And Tim Jones, boy, what a week, the redistricting map, the initiative petition, the Constitution, Amendment 3, all that. Nobody knows more about it than Tim Jones, and he'll be by at 10:05 for that. Mark Carter coming by too, and chat box, of course, as always. Right now, Ashlyn, I can't remember. What are we fighting? Do you remember?
We are fighting the fake news. It's fake. Fake news. Phony. Fake. Fake news.
Ashlyn's like, what did I get myself into here today? All right, so this is very serious, okay? And this is stupidity, and this is people that just don't care. I mean, I don't even know how to word it. Brian Stelter, who I thought got fired from CNN, was a guest on CNN, and the topic was this poor girl from Ukraine who's on a light rail train, and some monster that was sitting behind her, who, by the way, said a couple of times, I got the white girl. I got the white girl. He said it more than once. So when Van Jones on CNN says this is not racially motivated, yes, it was. And she's dead. And I hate to say this, but there is a more complete video that you can find, if you can stomach it, of the whole thing. I watched it once, could not watch it again. I could not watch it again. I mean, she turns and looks right at him, I mean, it almost looks like, I don't know how to explain it, but she looked right at him, and then she went down, and then she bled to death right there on the light rail train. So Brian Stelter's on with CNN, saying that us, when I say us, I mean conservatives, what he likes to call the MAGA media, if he's saying that we're saying it's a racial attack, and it's not. All right, so here's Brian Stelter.
Most murders in the U.S. never become national news. This one's garnered attention for a couple of reasons. Number one, first and foremost, the recent release of that gruesome video. Second, the energy from pro-Trump activists. They picked up on this video from local news and ran with it. It's a little bit like the times when civil rights groups have raised attention about police-involved shootings. In this case, it is Trump-aligned influencers who are posting up a storm about this case on social media.
So we're posting up a storm on this on social media. What are we supposed to do? What would he rather us do? Hide this story and say, you know what? A 14-time arrested guy with a long rap sheet didn't kill this 23-year-old girl from Ukraine. Is that what we should be doing and saying? He goes on.
Really, over the weekend, Elon Musk, Charlie Kirk, other Trump-aligned figures succeeded in making this senseless death a symbol of big city crime.
It is a symbol of big city crime. What I mean, and Charlotte is not that big of a city, right? If you start counting down the size of the cities, you got New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, there's cities way bigger than Charlotte. But yes, this is a symbol. This is exactly what's happening with big city crime.
We heard President Trump asked about it yesterday when he was heading home from New York City. He didn't seem to know much about it. He said he would get briefed. And then today, Trump did know all about it. That's exactly what has happened here. This story has trickled up from local news to social media and now to the president's attention.
So it shouldn't have? This story shouldn't have trickled up from local news to social media to the president's attention? The president shouldn't know about stuff like this?
And it's being used, as you said, Brianna, as a political symbol, with MAGA media calling for more forceful punishments and more incarceration. I have to say, some of the replies to Musk, some of the comments around this story are baldly racist.
So I just want to make sure we get this right. If a black guy kills a white girl, who's the racist, I guess? And I'm telling you, I've heard him, okay? On the train, I've heard him say, I got the white girl. I got the white girl. And he kills the white girl. So it seems like this guy's a little bit more racist than MAGA followers who are trying to make this a racial situation.
Stoking fear of African Americans because this man attacked a white woman. The open racism on sites like X today, it's eye-popping. But there are also legitimate questions about this so-called career criminal, someone who had been a repeat offender. And those questions, I hope they're not lost amid all of the cesspool kind of comments on social media.
Wow. Now I know why they fired him, because he doesn't even know how to tell the truth. And I don't know. You can't even say, this is the thing, what's happened in this country, and it's been happening for years. We can't even say, hey, a black guy killed a white girl. I'm a racist if I say that. And is that true? Am I being a racist if I just say a black guy killed a white girl? If those are the absolute 100% facts? I'm just laughing at something Barry said in the chat box. He said Brian Stelter shouldn't use the word baldly with his little chrome dome there. So she the thing about that, the longer video that you watch, nobody helped her. You know, there's a photo, not video. I still got to figure this out, because I watched her all the way up to her slinking down to the floor of the train, right? And then you see her hand come up on the seat, trying to, I don't know what you do when you're stabbed in the neck. I've never been stabbed in the neck, thank God. But I don't know where this picture came from, because if the picture that I saw is true, and, you know, these days you don't know what's true and what's not true, what you see, but that this guy was trying to help her, I guess after she slumped down and fell on the floor of the train. And the blood is everywhere, by the way, everywhere. And then this guy takes his bloody knife and walks through the rest of the train. Nobody does anything, you know. What name popped into your head when you first heard this story? Because Daniel Penny popped into my head. And if Daniel Penny was on that train, I'm not saying she might not have gotten stabbed, because it happened so quickly. He stood up and he stabbed her in the neck that fast, up and stabbed. So even a trained Marine like Daniel Penny might not have been able to prevent this. But Ashlyn, you and I talked about this yesterday, that if you're on a train, if you're in a situation where there's other people, don't dive into your phone. I mean, I get it. Everybody uses their phone, but isn't there a way to look at your phone and then look up and look around and look back at your phone?
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
You don't have to just be on your phone. Oh my God, look at that post. So I'm not saying she caused her own death, because, you know, this maniac monster did. We also talked about yesterday, be aware of your surroundings.
Absolutely.
Know who's sitting next to you. Know who's sitting behind you. If you sit down and somebody sits behind you and you're uncomfortable about that, change seats.
Yeah.
Change cars. There's other cars on that train you could have sat on. And I'm not blaming her. Please believe me, I am not blaming her for this happening to her. But women, men, everyone. I mean, this has happened to women. This has happened to men. You have to be able to be aware of everybody around you and move around a little bit. Move, you know, put your leg over the seat so you can see who's around you. And maybe she might have been able to get up and run away. I don't know. But I know that I'm not a racist if I just say to you that a black guy killed a white woman. Because if a white guy killed a black woman, you know, and you know whose name's popping up again here? George Floyd. And George Floyd was the saint. They made him a saint. Drug addicted, convicted felon. He was a saint. And by the way, George Floyd. Oh, are we done already? Oh boy. Look at Ashlyn pushing me around.
I don't know where the music's coming.
Is it coming from me? Not coming from me. That's right. Keep it.
Oh.
Keep it up. David Bowie. Hey, you never lower David Bowie. That's in the rules. All right, we'll take an early break here. We'll come back and we'll talk to Dr. Bonner Cohen. That's next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
on the next
Larry Connor's USA.
We are waiting to see the latest reactions after Israel strikes targets in Qatar.
Larry Connor's USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, EIFS, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This whole thing's got me thinking about how privileged I've been.
America's a wonderful country.
If I were a black man, I'd be furious.
We're getting frustrated.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
There are certain issues that we need improvement.
They would rather have this country on its knees than be successful.
News, analysis, opinion.
We have common sense, and the Democrats have none.
101.9 and 94.1.
And I appreciate the discussion.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com. This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. How you doing? Hope you're having a good Wednesday. I'm Vic Porcelli. That's Ashlyn over there. So we got this great event coming up on the 18th, which is now just 8 days away. Let's see if I can do this math. That would make it next Thursday, I guess. God, I wish I paid attention in school. I really do. But News Talk STL and the Hammond Center for Free Enterprise bringing Steve Forbes, the one and only, to Lindenwood University with the help of the Young Americans Foundation and West News Magazine and Mid-Rivers News Magazine. The great news is the event is free. You don't have to pay a dime to listen to Steve Forbes talk. The bad news, well, it's not bad news, but you have to reserve your ticket. So all you got to do is go to newstalkstl.com, which is good news. Anytime you go to the website, it's good news. Click on the event link and you'll get your free tickets and you'll be able to come on in. September 18th, 7 p.m., as part of the H.F. Langenberg Memorial Speaker Series, Steve Forbes at the beautiful J. Scheidegger Center for the Arts. You know, that Scheidegger Center has hosted many, many great speakers, one of which was Temple Grandin. I think I told you the story once before. And it's funny, we talked about my lonely year of 2010 up in Bloomington Normal. The movie Temple Grandin came on, and I watched it, and I was just hypnotized by it. And I called my wife and I said, I just learned about this lady, Temple Grandin. I'm all into her now. She goes, of course you are. So I looked her up and saw what she did and things that she did. And she's just an amazing woman. And she spoke at the Scheidegger Center, and somebody on Facebook heard me talking about it and writing about it on social media and went to go see Temple Grandin speak. All right. No. Okay. We're waiting on Dr. Bonner Cohen. He's got a great voice, so he can do what he wants, I guess. He can be late if he wants. That's fine. I'm just kidding. He's a good guy. He's a great guy. So, Chicago, right? President Trump wants to send National Guard into Chicago. Mayor Brandon Johnson doesn't want that. He says, we're doing fine without you, President Trump. J.B. Pritzker says, no, you're not coming to our state, because he's the big fat governor, and you're not coming to our state. We're doing just fine. Meanwhile, another 7 people were shot and killed over the weekend in Chicago. So the only thing we can assume out of all of this reaction from the leaders in Illinois, the leaders in Chicago, is that they're okay with it. They're good with it. And I think that's got to be part of the message from President Trump, is that he's got to say, J.B. Pritzker, Brandon Johnson, they're happy with the murders. 7 murders over the weekend was just fine. They don't need our help. Now, if you take a microphone and a camera and you walk through the streets of Chicago, you will find that almost everyone you speak to will say, yeah, we need help. We need help from you, Mr. President. And they never will. They'll never, the Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker will never walk around with a camera and a microphone. You know what he does do? He walks by, I don't know what that is, if that's Lakeshore Drive. I don't know anything about Chicago geographically, nothing. But he made sure he made a video with the lamestream media saying, look, it's early in the morning. People are walking. People are jogging. There's no, and I'm not sure there were people walking or jogging because you don't see anybody in the background or anywhere in that shot. So what happened was he was protected by all his people. I'm sure he's got some sort of protection team, security team. And they made sure that was all they saw was J.B. Pritzker and no other people around. So he could say, see, this is how safe it is. You can take a walk here early in the morning and walk by the river, walk by the lake, and it's fine. Our city's fine. And then that very weekend, 7 people get shot and killed in Chicago. So that's what they want. Clearly, that's what they want. And families of those people who were shot should get on television and say, J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson are just fine with my son or my daughter being shot and killed in the streets of Chicago. And I bring up Gianno Caldwell again, whose little brother was shot by a gang in Chicago. And he's been, because that's never been solved. That's another thing. When these killings happen, they never get solved. Just imagine what the police department looks like with reports, right? Reports of murders piled up to the ceiling on desks of police officers and detectives, and they never get solved. They never get solved. And in the year where we're at here, 2025, the technology, there should be video of all those 7 people in Chicago. There should have been video of them being shot so the world can see who did it and maybe solve one of these crimes. I would love to see the numbers. I guess I'll look this up when I get a chance on how many unsolved murders there have been in Chicago in the last 5-10 years, because this isn't a this year problem. This is a long time problem in Chicago. You remember the name Al Capone? Yeah. Long time. So anyway, Jasmine Crockett, she has made another ridiculous remark. She says, now listen to this. This is what her education at MICDS and Rosati Kane has given her. Jasmine, this is a quote to Jasmine Crockett. Law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crimes, okay? That's what they're supposed to do. She can't believe that. She just can't believe that. And her education in the most expensive exclusive schools in St. Louis sure as hell didn't believe that. Because you know what? I keep forgetting. She grew up on the mean streets of the ghettos of Ladue. So she didn't learn that. That police are not to prevent crime. Police are there to solve crimes. Just do the paper. I mean, not to solve crimes, but to report on the crimes. That's what solve the crimes, not prevent the crimes. And so show me what we were just talking about a second ago. Show me all of the murders in Chicago that have been solved because they're unsolved, cold cases, I guess you would call it. My God, to see I would love to see the stack of unsolved murders in Chicago at the police station. And being a police officer in Chicago, or right here in St. Louis, Kenny's nephew works in one of the most dangerous parts of St. Louis, and he loves it. He's a good kid, and he's a brave kid, and he is performing his service that he wanted to do, so he's not going anywhere. So Jasmine Crockett, once again, comes to the rescue on the dumb meter and proves to us how stupid that she is. All right, so let's talk about this jobs report. The White House announced a massive reduction of nearly 1 million in job growth between April 24 and March of 25, a time which former President Joe Biden and his team lied to the American people about the strength of the economy. I saw an old clip of Joe on TV last night saying, those job numbers, they're right. They're accurate. Don't you worry about it. When it really was 818,000 less than what he said. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics just revised down their job numbers from April 24 to March 25 by 911 jobs. So April 2024, guess who was president? Joe Biden. Joe Biden was president for more of the time between April 2024 and March 2025 than President Trump. And, can I play something from here? This is the great Caroline Levitt talking about the job growth.
Well, let me just say something about the revisions that came out this morning. And this was one of the biggest revisions in absolute terms in decades. In the benchmark year, March 2024 to 2025, shows that the job growth was vastly weaker during the Biden administration than ever previously reported. Between this revision and last year's, job growth was actually overstated by approximately 2 million jobs. And the Biden administration stood up here and vouched for that data and told you that data was real. And when President Trump calls into question the veracity of that data, like he did before he took the oath of office and even now as president of the United States, he was ridiculed for that. And turns out this revision proves two things. Number one, the president was right. And this is why we need new leadership at the Fed. And this makes it very clear that President Trump inherited a much worse economy by the Biden administration than ever reported. And it also proves that the Federal Reserve is holding our monetary policy far too restrictive. Interest rates are too high. The Fed needs to cut the rates because of the mess that we inherited from the Biden administration.
All true. She's not lying. She is not wrong. And that's just the jobs. How many other things did the Biden administration lie to us about, right? Besides numbers and stuff. So it's just not good. Tom Holman on a tear. Hey, Ashlyn, can we hear number 4 of the cuts that Joey gave us?
Yes, we can.
That'd be great. Tom Holman made an absolute mess of Mika Brzezinski on MSNBC the other day because she used the term disappearing, They're making people disappear. That's almost like a mafia kind of reference, when the mafia performs a hit and then disposes of the body. That's disappearing. And Tom Homan just wants people to know at ICE there is no racial profiling.
We're not racial profiling anybody. They say, well, ICE officers jumping out of vans in Home Depot. Were they there during the surveillance? Were they there when they were copping license plate numbers? Who's dropping them off and where they're going? Were they there when they're pulling intelligence reports on some of these employees? Were they there when they're running NCIC and III on these people? Were they there when they're listening to wires? Were they there during any investigation? No, but they seen the culmination of this. They said, well, where's the reasonable suspicion? I trust the professionals of the Border Patrol and ICE, all very well trained, to make sure they establish reasonable suspicion to briefly detain and question somebody. And the Supreme Court agreed with me.
It's so easy to crime racism when you are deporting people from countries in Central America, in South America, because they're brown people, right? And I will bet you that they have found people who look very white who are in this country illegally and have deported them too. But that's not the ones they want to talk about. They want to talk about the ones who are black and brown because, you know, we're all racist. Everybody's racist. But Tom says there's no racial profiling. And I was thinking about this yesterday when I was watching him just completely chew up and spit out Mika yesterday. I was like, well, you know, Tom Homan has been on TV, on news programs, well before President Trump got reelected in 2024. And he was, I think, the deputy ICE director during that time. And then when he became the border czar, I was like, yeah, this is the guy that we saw on TV all the time telling us about immigration and ICE and deportations. And why didn't the left say anything when Donald Trump ran on mass deportations? Because they didn't think he could do it. I guess. I don't know what else, you know, what else they could have thought on why they didn't really, because now it's a big deal on the left, right? Boy, I can only imagine Brian Stelter must have nightmares at home because there are people who look black and brown being deported. Oh, God, it's terrible. It's racism. You MAGA media are just terrible. And, you know, the fake news clip that we played with Brian Stelter about this guy who murdered this Ukrainian girl, 23 years old, came to this country, got herself a job, and I will bet you that if she wasn't already a model, she would be a model. Just beautiful. And again, that has nothing to do with it, you know, but I'm just saying she happened to be a very beautiful girl. And there was a photograph of her. It looks like she's in her bedroom because she's on her bed looking back at the person who's taking the picture of her. And on the wall above her head is a Black Lives Matter poster, which reminded me of the riots after the Michael Ferguson thing, when people had businesses and they said, we're on your side. We support you. We're on your side. And they burned down their businesses anyway. I mean, there was no rhyme or reason to the big summer of love in 2020. And that wasn't an isolated incident either. So getting back to Brian Stelter and how he feels about this murder. It's not like he's saying, oh God, look at this poor black woman who got shot or stabbed by a white guy. This is terrible. This is racism. That guy was racist. That's why he did it. But it's the other way around, right? It's the white girl that got stabbed by the black guy. So if we talk, just what I just said right there is racist in Brian Stelter's eyes and most of the left's eyes, because they can't see with their eyes and they can't hear with their ears. And it's just ridiculous and it's got to stop. So I want to also remind you that the light rail train that girl was on looks just like Metrolink here in St. Louis. And we know the problems on Metrolink. So be aware. I get it. Phones are fun, right? I don't know what people do. Ashlyn, get on the mic. When you have your phone and you're looking at it, what are you doing? What are you looking at? messages from people?
This is going to age me. Usually I'm on Facebook.
Okay. So social media,
Yeah.
finding your friends, right? Something that could probably wait. I mean, if you're on a light, not you.
Most definitely.
If you're on a light rail, right. You can wait till you get home and then say, oh, I like that post or I love that post.
Or music. I'm like browsing through my music usually.
And listening to music at the same time?
Yes.
Okay, see, that's a problem.
Just one earphone though.
Okay, that's good. That's only half a problem. Because listening to music in both ears also cuts you off from the world. I get it. That's why you got the phone. They put on Spotify, right? And to listen to podcasts of the Vic and Ken Show. We get it. And we appreciate you doing that. But we want you to be safe as well. So just listen to one ear. Of course, we want you to listen to the podcast, but listen in one ear. And in case you hear anything, because I don't know actually if she had headphones in, if that girl had headphones in, because if she didn't, she might have been able to, you know how like out of the corner of your eye, you can see something, you know, she might have been able to see it and, you know, fought back, you know, I don't know, just the phone's fun, but if it can wait till you get home on Facebook, then wait till you get home. I want you to be safe. All right, the one and only former Speaker of the House, Tim Jones, will talk to us next about all the great stuff that's happening in the Missouri legislation. How about that? We can celebrate about something. Timmy's next.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
The Washington Guard presents the 4th annual Patriots Banquet, the price of freedom, honoring real American heroes. Join us October 11th at Parish Hall in Union, Missouri. Hear from featured speakers Doug Giles, founder of Warriors and Wild Men, and Marine Colonel Jack Jackson, Harrier jet fighter pilot. Master of Ceremonies Jamie Allman will host this inspiring evening. For tickets, visit thewashingtonguard.com. Use code NewsTalkSTL for $10 off.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump says he'll be taking his crime crackdown to another U.S. city, that city to be announced today. The president making his displeasure clear when it comes to Israel's attack on Hamas in Qatar.
I'm not thrilled about the whole situation. It's not a good situation. But I will say this, we want the hostages back, but we are not thrilled about the way that went down.
Hamas says it lost none of its senior leaders in the attack. NATO member Poland says multiple Russian drones invaded its airspace overnight. Polish officials say those drones were shot down with the help of the NATO allies. The Russian Defense Ministry denies sending any drones over Poland. Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen claim Israel is conducting heavy airstrikes on the capital, Sana'a. It's not clear what the targets are or if there are any casualties. Additional charges lodged against the suspect in the shocking stabbing death of a young woman on a light rail train in Charlotte, North Carolina.
The Justice Department has now charged DeCarlos Brown Jr. with the fatal stabbing of a Ukrainian refugee. The United States Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina, Russ Ferguson, now has announced that Brown now also faces a federal charge of causing death on a mass transportation system.
The charge we are bringing is in Title 18, which is the criminal code. It's section 1992A7, which is the law that Congress passed really for this situation. It is an act of violence on a mass transportation system.
Ferguson says that people should feel safe on public transit and hinted that more federal action may be in the works. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Wholesale prices fell 0.1% last month, according to the Labor Department's Producer Price Index. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is down 250 points, while the NASDAQ 113 points higher, and the S&P is up 32. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-226-5454. That's 800-226-5454. 800-226-5454.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer doesn't officially end for another dozen days, and we're about to get a not-so-subtle reminder of that. Yeah, a warming trend begins today, runs right through the weekend. Up to 88 this afternoon with a mix of clouds and sunshine. Mostly clear tonight, 65 for the low early Thursday morning. We'll be near 90 tomorrow afternoon under mostly sunny skies. Friday, we hit 92, and then it's 95 both Saturday and Sunday. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me? Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, hour number 2 of our 3-hour tour. I'm Vic Porcelli. That's Ashlyn over there. And our Vic for Vets initiative is just really taken off. And I love that people are coming to us and saying, hey, we have vets. We want to help. Can you guys get the word out? Absolutely. One being the big barbecue bash that's happening in Ellisville. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. But right now we're talking about wreaths across America to honor our victims. Okay. Remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach our children the value of freedom. So I know this is out a couple of months, but we want you to, keep it in your mind starting now. December 13th at 11 a.m., Civil Air Patrol St. Louis Composite Squadron will be helping Belle Reve Garden Cemetery to remember and honor our veterans by laying remembrance wreaths on the graves of our country's fallen heroes. So help News Talk STL and our local Civil Patrol in St. Louis honor and remember the many fallen heroes as possible by sponsoring remembrance wreaths and volunteering on Wreaths Day or inviting your family and friends to attend with you. Go to newstalkstl.com, click on the Wreaths Across America banner for all the info. All right, are we ready for Mr. Speaker? Go. Former Speaker of the House.
You just proved why you left-wing loons are so insane. Y'all ready for this?
Tim Jones. Good morning, my handsome MAGA former Speaker of the House.
Good morning. A very happy Dry Hump Day, Double Whoosh Wednesday to you, Vic, and to all of our Ultra MAGA brothers and sisters in News Talk STL Nation.
Right on. Okay, so this has been a good week, right? I mean, At least we got.
It has been.
They're at the redistricting map. Talk about the redistricting map.
Hey, Vic, can I first do a public service announcement really fast?
Of course, Tim. Of course. I'm sorry. Yes.
A couple of very special people in my life, and Vic, it's right in line with what you and Ken do every day, every week with your Vic for Vets program, because this is a special veteran as well. So, Vic, I want to give a big shout out. They may be listening right now on the News Talk STL app down in sunshiny Liberty and Freedom, Florida. My Uncle Duke and Aunt Jane Deutschman, good German stock. It's their 54th wedding anniversary today. And Vic, my Uncle Duke is a veteran of both the U.S. Marine Corps and the U.S. Coast Guard, where he retired many years ago now as a commander. And he flew just about everything you could fly with wings all over this country, doing search and rescue missions up and down our coast. And he also flew in the first Gulf War back and forth to Turkey. He flew a lot of the government upper brass on the big giant troop carriers. So he's a great American. My Aunt Jane is a wonderful, wonderful woman. And that's my mom's younger sister. They're down in Florida, where we all wish we were pretty much every day. Although we love Missouri.
Duke is a super veteran. Duke and Jane Deutschman, happy anniversary. That's great. Tim, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thanks very much. So, yeah, Vic, you asked about the session. Yes. And so, Vic, little inside baseball. When the governor calls one of these sessions that are not in the regular legislative session from January to May, when the governor calls it, they're called extraordinary sessions because they're not normal, right? They're extraordinary. The legislature actually has a tool to call themselves back into session. It's a very high bar. I think it's like a super majority or something, like 75% or whatever. And that's called a special session. So we're in the second extraordinary session of the summer, Vic. Very unusual, right? Unusual to have one, really unusual to have two in the same calendar year. The first session, Vic, I would say was not a very special session. That was the one where the royal we. Nobody in, not the current Freedom Caucus members, and not I nor anybody else advocated for giving $1.5 billion to the chiefs and royals, who, by the way, folks, it's now September 10th, and they still haven't made up their minds what they're doing. Vic, the whole thing was a crock of crap from day one. It was a ruse. These teams are just playing the taxpayers, playing the government politicians against one another, and the taxpayers are the ones who are always losing. But Vic, that's nothing we can do about that now. We have a great special session, a great extraordinary session now, doing two things. Isn't this great, Vic? The Freedom Caucus and the conservatives in the Missouri legislature are finally in full control, as they should be, because but for them and but for Donald J. Trump, this session, I argue, would never have happened. So the Trump White House has been asking all good governors around the country, and I'm going to give Governor Keogh credit for pulling the trigger on this and bringing the legislature back, has been asking governors across the country, hey, you all do realize that Democrats have been gerrymandering for decades, right? Like, you all know that, right? Like, they've made it a professional sport. Look at these spider webs in People's Republic of Illinois. So why have, as Republicans, chosen to unilaterally disarm and never seek an advantage, right? Oh, we're going to be nice. We're going to have a civil code of conduct. Politics is war. And Donald Trump has definitely proven that and shown that to Republicans across the country of how to be fighters for freedom and liberty and defend our Constitution. So we're not doing anything that is improper or unlawful or unconstitutional. We're playing by the rules that the Democrats have been for the last 40, 50 years. So Donald Trump said to Missouri, come on, guys. It sounds like, from what I'm hearing from Congressman Onder and Burleson and some of the other folks that used to be in the state Senate, that y'all should have done this last time around. So let's fix it. Let's go back into an extraordinary session and do a 7-1 congressional map. On the heels of that, the Missouri Freedom Caucus jumped in and said, oh, by the way, since we know the Democrats are going to, whine and complain and yell and scream, and you're going to have to shut the filibuster down, how about you throw initiative petition reform in there? Because the excuse has always been, we run out of time. We're not sure if we want to PQ the Democrats on this, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're going to do it anyway for the maps. You've been promising Missourians you were going to get this accomplished for the last 7 or 8 years. So how about we do that too? Vic, where we are right now is I'm happy to report both of those bills, both of those uber priorities for Missouri Republicans have sailed out of the Missouri House in flying colors, and they're now pending in the state Senate.
Well, I was scrolling through X yesterday, and I just happened to find this little cool piece of audio and video from Vice Chair of the Freedom Caucus, our great friend Justin Sparks.
My colleague across the aisle brought up the fact that President Donald J. Trump has in fact asked Missouri to consider redistricting. And thank God he has. I fully support it. But let's talk about why that is. It's because every single vote in Congress matters now, because the Democrat Party is now the party of men becoming women, women identifying as men.
State your point. I'm sorry.
My constituents have said it loud and clear that they fear for their children's future because of insane policies of the left. And that is the real reason we're here.
Boy, they got all upset when he spoke the truth, right? They never want to hear what kind of freaks they actually are.
No, they don't. And isn't that telling, Vic, that Justin Sparks, he was not saying anything inflammatory. He was speaking facts.
Right.
There was nothing but facts in those statements. And yeah, the Democratic, that's why the libs of TikTok became such a viral sensation and such a successful feed. And that's why the left wanted to shut it down, because things like this are nothing more than holding a mirror up to the liberals' own left-wing lunacy. Vic, they're embarrassed about themselves, as they should be. They've got this little tiny, I think it's tiny, I hope it's tiny for the sake and future of our country, but very loud base. It still thinks, Vic, nearly a year later, they still think that Democrats, that normal Democrats, the ones that are left in Democrat-ruined cities, that they don't want to be safe and secure, that they want young women to be the victims of brutal, heinous crimes on their subway systems, that they want open borders to continue to flood fentanyl and sex traffickers into this country. I heard Tom Homan speak at the State Freedom Caucus Network's second annual summit last week, and he said the stories I could tell you would be ones that I can't say on television because of the gruesomeness and the nature and the character of them. 7, 8, and 9-year-old girls being sexually trafficked, assaulted, and raped. And I know these are tough things to hear, especially at 10:14 in the morning, but they're happening. And they're happening because of Democrat policies, because that party has been completely hijacked by the lunatic left. So we're saying here in Missouri, enough is enough. We're not going to let you continue to hijack our state constitution and put all your crazy commie crap into it. We're not going to let you continue to expand Medicaid and bust our budget and raise our taxes and prevent our children from having school choice and making our streets more dangerous and less safe. So we're going to redistrict our maps, and we're going to send more sensible people to D.C., and we're going to protect our Constitution from out-of-state and out-of-country foreign left-wing billionaires.
You know what? You mentioned expanding Medicaid. Do you mind if we focus on that for just a sec?
Yes, sir. You've been covering that better than anybody on this station.
Oh, wow. Thanks. If you expand Medicaid, that's like the opposite of Doge, right? You're gonna create more government waste and inefficiencies, because the people that have had Medicaid taken away didn't qualify to begin with. So if you expand Medicaid, that's more people that might not be qualified getting Medicaid, and that's just not fair.
That's right. Vic, you've had a multitude of guests. I've heard them talk about, you've been really focused on the ineffectiveness and the inefficiencies of the welfare system. You talk about disability and how that program is full of corruption and waste and fraud and abuse. Same thing with the Medicaid system. And here's the deal. We Republicans, we conservatives, and I would argue, I believe most of we libertarians, all the conservatarians in the country, folks on the center right of the political spectrum, we understand, because we're smart people, what the social safety net is for. And we don't dispute the need for it. No one on the center right side of the political spectrum is saying, we're going to eradicate Social Security. We're going to get rid of the disability system. We're no longer going to have Medicaid or Medicare, because when administered properly, These programs are what we do as a compassionate conservative nation to provide for those people who absolutely cannot. So, Vic, to your point, when you expand that system, as we did here in Missouri through a deceptive ballot initiative campaign led by out-of-state, out-of-country, left-wing billionaires, when you expand that system to able-bodied, working-age Missourians and take them off of their private health insurance and put them on the government dole, it does exactly what you just said. It's less support. It's less of a social safety net. It's less help for the truly needy amongst us. Because unlike what Democrats and liberals think, money does not grow on trees, and it is a finite, not an infinite resource.
And Medicaid, I know, is a state thing. So you guys,
Correct.
You are still the director of the Freedom Caucus, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's a state thing. But I believe that SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, is a federal thing. Is that right?
It's a federal program administered on the state level. I'm not sure what changes we could or could not make to it, to your point, through state government. But I know here's what's happening though, Vic. And I talked to some of our allied partners to the Freedom Caucus, a group called FGA, the Foundation for Government Accountability. State Freedom Caucus has a multitude of allied partners all across the country. FGA is a group that focuses on these very issues. And they gave me some good news last night. We were up here in Jeff City all day yesterday doing a fundraiser-orama. That's what you do the night before the veto session, which is also today. It's like a Halloween for legislators. They run around and pick up checks. So
Halloween.
We were speaking.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
We were speaking with the FGA folks, and they said, yeah, Tim, there's a ton of great stuff in the one big, beautiful bill where Donald Trump is giving the power back to the states to do reforms on the state level to a lot of these federally funded programs. So there's improvements that can now, the states, the handcuffs have been taken off of state legislators, which the Biden administration and the Obama administration put on them. They're being unshackled. Joe Biden likes to say, I'm going to keep you all in chains. Yeah. So we're taking the chains off and we're letting freedom and liberty reign across the land. And now state legislators can implement provisions of the One Big Beautiful Bill to shore up and to improve upon all these federal funded social safety net programs. Again, I would argue the bills that I voted on and passed and the ones that I still support do so much more for people to give them the hands up that they need, get them into the workforce, expand their careers into the workforce, individual peace and prosperity and more opportunity versus what the Democrats and the left want to do, which is put everybody on the government dole and make everybody equal so everybody's equally miserable.
All right. So listen, you are our pipeline to DC, right? I mean, you're friends with Representative Bob Onder and Representative Eric Burlison well, because my point, and I keep bringing up about SSDI, is I'm sure a majority of the people who collect SSDI deserve it, are disabled in some way. But I'll tell you for a fact, there are guys who collect SSDI because of a bad back and they're still working on cars in a mechanic shop, and those are the people that if you're working, you don't get SSDI. The D is for disability.
Of course. And what better representative could we send to DC on issues of medical reform, insurance reform, better practices than Dr. Bob Onder. He's been an act. Folks need to know this. Dr. Bob truly is a doctor. Yeah. He practiced for over 30 years. He ran his own practice. He was also used in litigation as an expert witness for his research that he's done in immunology over the last many decades. So he knows these issues better than anybody I know. I'd be, I wish, Bob and I only served together for 2 years in the House. I wish we had so much more time together because, as a speaker or a leader, man, you need your experts like Dr. Bob, because you got to lean on people like that to explain the intricacies and complexities of the Medicaid system, the Medicare system, Social Security, and all the waste, fraud, and abuse. So I know that Bob is working on these issues in DC, and he's one man, but there's a doctor's caucus up there. He joins a couple of other great positions. And with Eric Burlison on the oversight committee, not a doctor, but definitely a guy who knows how to clean up government waste. Missourians should be very proud of our delegation, because I think in the next 10 years, you're going to see Missourians continue to lead the charge, like Jason Smith has done on the Ways and Means Committee, putting more money back in the pockets of Missourians, Missouri farmers, families, small business owners, and cutting as more of the waste, fraud, and abuse. You've got people with such great intellect up there. And these are freedom fighters. Like, these are people who went to the mat here in Missouri, in the House and in the Senate. I witnessed it.
It's 2025. How does a phone call get dropped in 2025?
Oh.
Go ahead, Tim. Continue. We lost you there for a sec. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't remember what brilliant thing I said last.
Oh, it was all brilliant. Trust me. But we get what you were going with. And so if Bob Onder and Eric Burleson can look into that, that would be great. And if we could have a little oversight on them on what the heck happened to our cookies, we'd like to find that out too.
Yeah, and I also want to say Jason Smith, who is one of my colleagues from my House days, running Ways and Means, first of all, huge honor for Missourians to have the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. Jason's looking into these same issues every day. So we've got, and I think the whole delegation is with them on this. Ann Wagner and Sam Graves and Mark Alford, they're all wanting to put more money back in the pockets of more Missourians and to cut the waste, fraud, and abuse in D.C. And with these reinforcements we're sending, with skilled oversight and the medical knowledge of Dr. Bob and Eric Burleson's oversight skills, I think Missouri's well positioned. And look, how the proof is in the pudding, right? The White House keeps stealing Missourians, right? We must be the best, the cream of the crop here. You got Will Sharp up there. You got Alex Meyer up there.
Yeah.
They've relocated Andrew Bailey up there. We've got John Sauer as the Solicitor General. He came from Josh Hawley's AG office back in the day. So apparently you need a lot more honest to goodness, heartland hillbilly wisdom up in Washington, D.C. to fix these issues.
Well, I think maybe you and Nick Schroer may be the next two. All right. So let me just play one thing. I want to play a piece of audio. You know this woman, Lisa Cook, who works at the Fed, that won't be fired. Like, she's got fired, but she won't be fired. Lisa Crook. We got exclusive audio of them trying to fire Lisa Cook. Her nickname, by the way, is Consuela. I don't know if you know that, but here's the audio of her and them trying to fire her.
Okay.
Consuela, I'm sorry, but this is not working out. We're asking you to go.
No, I stay. I clean.
You don't understand. You're fired.
No, I keep job.
Here's $40 if you leave right now.
No, I stay.
So she says, no, I stay.
What is wrong? First of all, the left is losing their mind because Donald Trump, the leader of the executive branch, is trying to be the executive, right, Vic? He's just trying to be the executive, and they won't let him run the freaking government under the described powers that he has in the U.S. Constitution. And also, Vic, it shows the narcissism and the ego of these government bureaucrats. Vic, they think they get jobs for life. They think they're accountable to no one. And Donald Trump, if he's done anything else, he has definitely shown us how crooked and corrupt the D.C. swamp is and how it has stopped working for the people so many years ago.
And Lisa Cook has given us some advice on, how to not get fired. No, I stay. I keep a job.
Consuela Crook, we could call her.
Exactly right. Timmy, thank you, baby. Whoosh, my MAGA Speaker of the House brother. Appreciate you.
A double whoosh Wednesday to you, to Ashland, everybody in News Talk STL Nation. Vic, you continue having the awesome show that you do have. And who needs that Ken Williams anyway?
I do. I'll stand up right now and say I do. Thank you, man, very much.
Thank you.
Be sure you're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps this afternoon, 4 to 6 o'clock on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Oh, Joe Walsh and Funk 49. Hey, the St. Louis County Lincoln Reagan dinner is coming up September 27th. You're invited to attend. It's a great time for all. It's at River City Casino Hotel. I believe our very own Jamie Allman will be there. And we're going to talk to Renee Artman, who puts this whole thing together, coming up tomorrow, I believe, or possibly next week. I'm sorry. I shouldn't even brought it up if I didn't know. My bad. So just plan on being there. Go to newstalkstl.com for more info from 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
The big lie is a lot of bullshit. That's what it is.
Whoosh, whoosh.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. Until I called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Looking for insurance you can truly trust? Since 1986, Bauer Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses across Missouri and Illinois. Owner Cindy Blanton doesn't just offer one quote. She shops all the top carriers like Progressive, Travelers, Safeco, and more to find you the best rates. Whether it's your home, auto, toys, or business, we've got you covered. Visit us at Mid-Rivers Mall in St. Peters or call 636-812-2001. Bauer Insurance Agency, the company that protects, the name you can trust.
Yo, this is Vic. Vic for Vets is proudly honoring our veterans. Every Wednesday at 11:05, you'll hear about that day's honoree and their incredible service to our country.
Hi, it's Ken. You want to nominate a veteran? Send their name, service information, and story to me, Ken, at newstalkstl.com.
Brought to you by Heroes Care, Alamo Military Collectibles, and Monocle's Pizza.
Together, let's celebrate the heroes in our community. Vic for Vets, where honor meets gratitude.
Located in the heart of St. Charles, Kevin's Guns is your family-owned destination for all things firearms. Whether you're a collector, hunter, or military enthusiast, we have it or can get it for you. From new to used rifles and handguns in every style and caliber, our friendly and knowledgeable staff is here to help educate you and ensure you make the perfect choice for your needs. Buy, sell, or browse our incredible selection at kevinsguns.net or call 636-493-1195. Kevin's Guns, where gun enthusiasts come home.
News Talk STL. News Talk STL.
And then, Senator, there's a Gallup poll that was released that 42% of Democratic voters view capitalism favorably, while 66% of Democratic voters view socialism favorably. Do you think that's a messaging issue for?
Oh, it's a great question. I literally was in a former communist nation, and I asked that. I said, some people in my party, some of the lefties, are talking about socialism now. What do you think? He's like, that's the worst thing ever. You would never want to live here. I've lived through that kind of a thing. You know, you're going to need a reality check if you ever adopt any of those things. You know, like, you are morons. They're just mystified why we're even having that conversation in our nation.
By the way, that's Democrat Senator John Fetterman, who, God, he just cracks me up. I swear to God. And he's been a story, hasn't he? He had the stroke, and then he did the debate. Shortly after the stroke, didn't look like he was able to really function. Hi, good night, everybody. If you remember that, Ken plays that all the time. And then he wins. By the way, that was a debate against Dr. Oz, who's now in Donald Trump's cabinet. But he comes a long way from there. And he used the term lefties. I love it. He's a lefty. When I say lefties, well, he's on the left. He's a Democrat. But he calls the nuts lefties. Because and listen to this stat, by the way, this is incredibly scary. 66% of Democratic voters view socialism favorably. And then the idiot who was interviewing him says, "You think that's messaging? You think we should be socialist?" And he thought he was being smart. He thought he was going to get the news bite of the day, right? The clip of the day to make everybody play it on all the local channels and all the networks and all social media, and it completely exploded in his face when Democrats say they're morons, because he didn't mention what country he was in, former communist country that he was in. I can't think of what that would be, because China is still communist. Cuba is still communist. Vietnam is still communist. So anyway, here's a guy on the left who I wonder what his day is like, John Fetterman, when he starts the day as a senator in the U.S. Senate. And they probably hate him, right? The lefties probably hate him because he never shuts up about how stupid they are. So 66% of Democratic voters, and don't get mad at me, kids, okay? But I got to think a lot of those are young kids who view socialism favorably because you haven't done your homework. Because I'd like you to write an essay, can be very short, and tell me what countries have thrived under socialism, which leads to communism. And if you don't know what happens to countries with communism, take a look at China. Take a look at Cuba. Okay? They don't like living there. People don't like living there. Okay, now I got to think. I think this was for the 2020 Republican National Convention. I hope I'm getting that right. But there was an older gentleman who is from Cuba. And this guy is old enough that he lived under Fidel Castro's Cuba. And he said, we don't want that, you know. And I joked all the time during the 2024 election that, and with immigration, when we're talking about how the Biden administration said, oh, border secure, KJP said our plan is working. Yeah, their plan to let all the illegals in. But I had made the claim, and maybe I was wrong, but my thought was that they won't let the Cuban immigrants in because they know what it's like to live under communism. What they're shooting for, what the left is shooting for, ultimately, is for us to be a communist country. Okay, so now let me try to tie this into New York City and their mayoral race right now with Mamdani. Mamdani. That's why I can't here to tell me how to say it. But anyway, people are like, yeah, I hope he wins. I hope he wins. And then let New Yorkers learn what it's like to live under communist rule, because government-owned grocery stores is a communist thing. And if you have government-owned grocery stores, then the shelves are going to be empty most of the time. So, well, but it's free. But what is free? Nothing is free. Air is free because not free, but it'll be very cheap. But government-owned grocery stores are going to be just the first indication that, oops, we made a mistake by electing this communist. I think that's a very expensive lesson to learn. You know, I'm from that area, okay? I grew up in New Jersey, 15 minutes outside of Manhattan. Me and my friends were in New York at least once a week, either seeing a concert or just going to drink at a bar or something like that. So I'm sorry, little quick story. I know I always stop things for stories. Squirrel! But if you've ever seen the video for the Rolling Stones Waiting on a Friend, they go into this bar. God, I can't think of the name of the bar, but we used to go there all the time. There's a Defender machine, video game there, and my brother had the all-time record on the Defender machine inside that bar that Mick Jagger and Keith Richards stood on. And what was the name of it? I can't remember it. I'll figure it out. So anyway, John Fetterman, I don't know. Don't you like it when he says stuff like that? Like he calls the people on the left lefties, which they are, but they don't want to admit that they're, in quotes, lefties, that they're pushing this love of socialism to the point where a Gallup poll showed 66% of Democrat voters view socialism favorably. When you call somebody, I don't know how polling works, but when you get called and the person says, hi, I'm calling from Gallup polling, can I ask you a few questions? That's a crapshoot on whether that person that you called knows anything about socialism or communism, right? I mean, how many people just don't pay attention? And I'm not saying they're bad for this, okay? But some people have no idea that they don't that they view communism or socialism favorably because they haven't done any research or whatever, don't watch the news, don't listen to, conservative talk radio like everyone should. But they're getting polling from people that don't know. So what do you think about socialism? And they say, oh, sure, I'm for it. Like there should be some sort of qualification questions first to qualify them to be interviewed for a Gallup poll. Like how much studying and research have you done on socialism and communism? Can you tell me that? Oh, no? Okay, then you can't be part of our poll. But to just ask somebody, and again, maybe they do that. I don't know. But I got to think maybe they don't. Or, and again, kids, I'm sorry, don't get mad at me, but I think they're younger kids who don't really know or have looked at the consequences, the negative consequences of socialism and or communism. And New York City, I guess it will be a great lesson to learn, but I think it'll be a very expensive lesson to learn if this communist Mandani gets elected. So, all right, let's go. Let's get out of here. Ashton, get me out of here. We're going to talk to Kenneth Abramowitz, author and expert, multi-front war, defending America from political Islam, China, Russia, pandemics, and racial strife. My God, there's a lot there. But he'll sort it all out for us next. Kenneth Abramowitz is next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Like Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
All right, so your trees, your backyard, your front yard. So some people just have trees in their backyard. Some people have just trees in their front yard. We happen to have trees in the front and backyard at my home. And we had one that was deader than dead. And when I say dead, it was so dead that the branches fell down. You had to duck to get underneath the branches. That's how bad they were. So we called Roots Plus, and there was no question that this tree had to come down. So they removed the tree. They were great. I am a little upset that nobody yelled timber. I think you should do that when the tree falls, but nobody does that. So you may have a tree that you think may be dead, but maybe it's not. And if it's not, and it can be rescued, Roots Plus will do it. Stan is the tree whisperer. He's got this great system to bring trees back to life. And here's the part that's the best. It's risk-free. If you pay for have them fix the tree, and then, sorry, it's almost like the doctor in the hospital. We did all we could. The money that you put towards trying to fix the tree goes towards removing the tree. So it's risk-free. And they're locally owned and operated. Stan is a great guy. He's been a guest on our show many times. Go to rootsplusllc.com. That's rootsplusllc.com.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
News Talk STL, the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise, and the Young America's Foundation welcome Steve Forbes to Lindenwood University for an inspiring evening on how free enterprise and entrepreneurship make America great. Discover how free markets and small business drive innovation, prosperity, and opportunity. Thursday, September 18th at Lindenwood University Scheidegger Center for the Arts. And this in-person event is free. Reserve your tickets now at hammondinstitute.org. Brought to you by Mid-Rivers and West News Magazines.
Connor Roofing, you can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a two-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint.
formulated to outsmart the elements. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, mold or mildew. Our home exterior coatings intelligently designed to stand up to Mother Nature. Call 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Fox News commentary.
GoFundMe removed all fundraisers in support of the career thug accused of murdering a Ukrainian refugee in cold blood. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us, and it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
All the disgusting causes people could fund, this one takes the cake. GoFundMe removed every single fundraiser created in support of DeCarlos Brown Jr., the career thug accused of brutally stabbing 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarudska on a train in Charlotte. The fundraisers claimed Brown was somehow a victim of systemic racism and mental health neglect. Are you kidding me? Well, thankfully, the internet wasn't buying it and public outrage exploded. So in response, GoFundMe shut it all down, setting their policy against fundraising for anyone charged with violent crimes. They've confirmed all donors were refunded. The verified fundraiser for the actual victim's family is still live and growing fast, pulling in tens of thousands of dollars from people who actually care about justice. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
You know, I was wondering, if you could keep on, because the force, it's got a lot of power, and it makes me feel like Michael makes me feel like
Ooh. My favorite Michael Jackson song. Don't stop till you get enough. All right, welcome back. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Ashland's playing my favorite songs today. It's fun. All right, let's talk about defending America from every angle. China, Russia, Islam, political Islam, pandemics, racial strife. Kenneth Abramowitz has a book just on that, and he joins us now. Kenneth, thanks for being with us. How are you?
Sure, great. Happy to be with you.
So this is your book's a scary book, you know what I mean? But it's something that we need to have the courage to read and understand. And I would like to, if you don't mind, start with political Islam, which I don't think people take seriously enough.
Yes, well, the three, and I'll answer your question in 24 seconds.
Okay.
The key thesis of the book is that there's three groups of enemies, and I color code them: the reds, the greens, and the blues. The reds are the communists, the greens are the Islamists, which we're going to talk about, in the blues are the globalists, color coded blue for the United Nations color.
Got it.
So let's look at the Islamists. Now, within Islam, there's Muslims as a religion, and there's Islamists, which is a political movement. Those are two separate entities. And so, in other words, people have a right to their own religion. That's a Muslim. They don't have a right to impose their religion on somebody else. That's Islamism. So that's why I highlighted Islamism as a threat. And by the way, the number one victim of Islamism are the Muslims.
Yeah.
And look at Gaza. Gaza, you have 1.5 million people who are victims of the Hamas Islamist terror organization. And so now the two Islamist countries of most note are Qatar, which represent the Sunnis, which are 85% of Muslims, and Iran, which represents the Shiites, which are 15% of Muslims. These are the two Islamist countries that are trying to impose Islam throughout the world and in America, and that's a huge challenge because we don't know what to do about it.
The Sunnis and the Shiites.
I know what to do about it.
I bet you do. The Sunnis and the Shiites, they've been fighting for thousands of years, right?
Oh, don't exaggerate. It's only 1,400 years.
I'm so sorry. I'm terrible at that. But it's true. And it never ends. It never ends.
Well, they're fighting over who should have succeeded Muhammad 1,400 years ago.
Wow.
And they're still fighting about who should have succeeded Muhammad 1,400 years ago.
Boy.
But today, 85% of Muslims roughly are Sunni and 15% are Shiite. So they're fighting among each other. but both of them are fighting against the West. Or another way of saying the West is democracy. Another way of saying it is Judeo-Christian culture.
Right.
And so that's the war that we've been in actually for 1,400 years. It hasn't stopped.
Mm-hmm. So it's safe to assume, and I'm not being a racist or anything if I say that Islam is a violent religion.
Well, let's. I try to separate Islam and political Islam. So Islam, if someone says I'm Muslim and that's my religion, in America, remember we have freedom of religion. Mm-hmm. So you say, okay, fine. I don't want to be a Muslim, but if you want to be a Muslim, go ahead. But if that person then says, oh, and you should be a Muslim, and I'll give you 3 seconds to think about it, or I'm going to kill you.
Right.
They go, wait a minute. That's not a religion anymore. That's a terror organization, or that's Islamism, that's jihadism, it's political Islam. That should be illegal. And we don't know how to separate Islam, the religion, from Islamism, the political movement, because we have to declare Islamism illegal.
My God.
By the way, in the Middle East, they've declared it illegal. In Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and in the Gulf states, Islamism, or political Islam, or the Muslim Brotherhood, which is the personification, are illegal.
Right.
So I say to myself, how come they're illegal in a Muslim country and they're not illegal in a Christian country like America?
Right.
You know, what's wrong with this picture?
President Trump just the other day was at the Religion Museum or something like that, and he was talking about freedom of religion. And then I said to myself, I may have said it out loud, I'm not sure, but what about the Muslim religion? Now, you've just kind of really defined what the difference is between freedom of religion, Muslim, go right ahead, Islam, decide now or we'll kill you, you infidel. Big, big difference that I don't think everybody understands.
Yes. Well, by the way, to make it a little clearer, pretend you went to a service and the priest or the pastor, or in Judaism, the rabbi, said, we're really wonderful people. We have a wonderful religion. By the way, there's people who don't believe what we believe in. When you leave the service at the church or the synagogue and you see them, just kill them. You'd say, hello.
Right.
Where's the police would be there like 4 seconds later and arrest the pastor. So I'm just saying we have to hold Islam to the same standards that we hold Christianity and Judaism.
I completely agree. I mean, everybody should be held to the same standards. All right, let's, before we get lost on, I'm sorry, let's finish that up and then we'll move on to another topic.
Okay.
So, because I do want to talk about China and Russia and pandemics and stuff like that. But Iran, when we attacked their nuclear facility, do you feel that they were closer to a nuclear weapon than we thought they were?
Well, they were clearly racing for a nuclear weapon. And the reason was obvious if you think about it. When Israel blew up their defenses, I don't know, 6 months before that, here you had a country of 90 million people with no defense, right? So, in other words, they couldn't shoot down any Israeli plane coming to attack them. They had no choice but to race for a nuclear weapon. That was the only thing that could save them. And they thought that they could get far enough along to have a nuclear weapon and then say to Israel, oh, now you can't send your planes to blow us up because we have a nuclear weapon. And that's when Israel realized it had no choice but to blow up the nuclear sites. And America agreed that they had no choice. And America basically let Israel prepare for 12 days the playing field. And then America came in like in the ninth inning, with the walk-off home run, saying, oh, I won the game.
Right.
Well, someone else, Israel played the other 8 innings of the game, preparing the field. And then America came in and with the walk-off home run in the ninth. And so together it was a joint venture between Israel and America to destroy their nuclear sites. And it was successful. And but that doesn't solve the story, because Iran has 600,000 worldwide terrorists, 300,000 physical terrorists, 100,000 narco-terrorists, which now Trump is going after in Venezuela. And they have 200,000 cultural terrorists. In other words, mosques, schools, books, media, social media. So the battle with Iran is not over. If it were a play on Broadway, we're at intermission time. so to speak.
So how many of them are here in the United States?
I can't tell you whether it's hundreds or thousands.
You could tell me, I'm a doctor.
Okay,
I'm kidding.
If I were guessing, I'd say 5,000.
Wow.
But you have to understand the way I define terrorists. There's a physical terrorist, someone who wants to kill somebody, blow something up. There's a narco-terrorist, someone who just wants to sell you some drugs that'll kill your children. And a cultural terrorist, in other words, a mosque, a school, a Facebook account. I call that cultural terrorism. So when I say 5,000, I'm talking about a combination of those three types of terrorists.
Still scary. All right, so let's talk about China, Russia. I hate they're palling around. I also hate that they're palling around with Modi from India. I mean, Modi, we helped them get out of a war with Pakistan, and then he chums it up with Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. Really?
Yeah, I was very similarly disappointed in that behavior because Modi is part of Western civilization.
Right.
I mean, Western civilization is just a code word for democracy. So India is a democracy. Democracy should work together. Democracy shouldn't say, "Oh, we work together. Oh, by the way, this weekend I'm going to go sit down with some dictators. Have a nice day." I go, wait a minute. You shouldn't be chumming it up with those are the red. Remember, I said red, green, and blues. So the reds would be China and Russia, among others, and North Korea. Yes, they shouldn't leave Western civilization for a weekend to join with the reds. But I think Modi was angry at Trump for imposing 50% tariffs to punish India for buying oil from Russia. So Modi was trying to jab, so to speak, Trump by basically saying, get rid of my 50% tariffs, and I'm going to, for one weekend, join up with these bad guys from Russia and China, and maybe that'll cause you to change your tariff policy. That's my guess as to what Modi was thinking.
All right. Let's, since we don't have all that much time here, Kenneth, I'm talking to Kenneth Abramowitz. Everything we've talked about here this morning is in his book, so go get that. We'll give you the title and everything in just a bit. Let's talk about pandemics. They really rused us during the pandemic. Masks, stay indoors, 6 feet apart. It was all a bunch of crap.
Yes, well, I monitor in my book, The Multi-Front War, and my website, SaveTheWest.com. I constantly discuss 7 forms of warfare. One is kinetic, that's when things blow up. Number 2 is chemical and biological. So COVID was a biological attack by China against America, and they killed 1 million Americans. By the way, fentanyl is a chemical attack against America, and they killed 1 million Americans with fentanyl. So China, using this second form of warfare, chemical biological, have killed about 2 million Americans in the past 10 years, and no one seems to know or care or want to do something about it.
I tell you what if we're in actual war? This is just hypothetical. God, I hope it never happens. What if we're at actual war with China, who already make our antibiotics? What's going to keep them from putting poison in the pills to kill us and probably as many people as the bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Yeah, you're exactly well taken. So purchasing any medical supply, any pharmaceutical in particular, from China is an eventual existential risk to America. So we have to bring that manufacturing chain back to America, but it takes time. And also one of the problems you have, besides the time of setting up a new factory and producing products, one of the problems you have is everyone complains about the high cost of pharmaceuticals. So if all of a sudden a pharmaceutical instead of $25 is $50, but it's from America instead of China, I want the $50 one. But a lot of people could say, oh, it's the FDA approved both of them, so they're both supposed to be safe. I'll take the $25 one. So Americans have to learn that to pay an extra premium for American quality. And by the way, it doesn't have to be America. It can be from India. There's other countries, but anyone but China, for sure, we should be buying medicines from those countries, not from China.
You know, Kenneth, I hate to correct you because you're so smart, but Joe Biden told us the existential threat to America is white supremacy and Donald Trump. So I think you're wrong.
Well, that was purposeful.
Yeah.
That was purposeful because they wanted to take our eye off the ball.
Right. You're
You know
right.
what I mean? And yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely right. All right, I'm sorry. We're running out of time. I'd love to talk to you all day about this. The book is called The Multi-Front War. I am right now on SaveTheWest.com. That's Kenneth's website. Go there, read it, find everything he's talking about here and much more. The book, The Multi-Front War, Defending America from Political Islam, China, Russia, Pandemics, and the Racial Strife. Where do we find that book?
Well, there's two ways. One is obviously go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble, any of those online stores. And the second way is to go to my website, SaveTheWest.com, and there's a link directly into Amazon, and you can buy it that way. And by the way, I write an article every 2 weeks on my website, and it's complimentary, so any of your listeners can sign up and get that newsletter simply by putting their email into the pop-up menu.
Kenneth, I am bookmarking it right now, and I will check
Okay, great,
that daily because you got some great stuff on there. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
Sure, pleasure to be with you anytime.
All right. Oh, do you hear that? Anytime. We'll hold them to it. Have them back. All right. So, I know I say it all the time, but it's my little pea brain, see, that doesn't really take everything in because I'm not that smart. But when I found out during COVID that China makes our medicine, I was like, are we stupid or what? So, President Trump's trying to get all that done, having prescription drugs made here in America instead of our communist enemy. And we'll see. We'll see how it works. Just makes me crazy, and it's scary. It was scary to see Russia and China and India all palling up, right? All palling out together. All right, Mark Harder, St. Louis County Council member and our great friend, and he's got the great show on the weekend called The Insider because he knows he is an insider. He knows all these people and has them on the show. Let's listen to a little bit of news, though, and then we'll get to all that on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
SR1 Sundays.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Kaiser. Be sure and check out my show, Straight Lines, this and every Sunday at 8 p.m., right after Stand and Fight, part of SR1 Sundays. Let's meet right here and let's peel back some layers of this crazy world, and you might be surprised at what we find. Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser on SR1 Sundays at 8 p.m., right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser on News Talk STL.
Hey, St. Louis golfers. Looking for a new golfing experience? Sugar Creek Golf Course was voted the most popular golf course in St. Louis. Book your tee time today at sugarcreekgolfcourse.com and join the fastest growing golf community in town, sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
Hey, News Talk STL listeners, this is Levi, CEO of Reach Reproductive Health. There was a huge gap left when the biggest pregnancy center in St. Louis had to close their doors right after Amendment 3. But by God's grace and power, Reach has been able to step into that space. We have acquired Thrive centers and are continuing operations in greater St. Louis. I have a request for you. Would you pray and consider getting to know Reach more? We are here to see babies saved and families transformed by the power of Christ. Get to know us on our Reach community website, outreachforlife.org. That's outreachforlife.org.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. Houthi rebels in Yemen say Israel is conducting heavy airstrikes in Sinai, the capital. The Houthis, backed by Iran, claim they're supporting Hamas and Palestinians in Gaza. Poland says it shot down Russian drones that had violated its airspace.
Last night, the Polish airspace was violated by a large number of Russian drones in an act of aggression as Russia launched aerial attacks on Ukraine. Poland's defense minister has written on X that more than 10 objects crossed into Polish airspace, and those that constituted a risk to Poland's security were neutralized. He's thanked NATO Air Command and the Royal Netherlands Air and Space Force for supporting the action with F-35 fighter jets. I'm Charles Dillevetsma.
In a special Virginia congressional election yesterday, Democrat James Walkinshaw defeated Republican Stuart Whitson to serve out the term of the late Congressman Jerry Connolly.
The special election comes as Virginia voters prepare for November's off-year gubernatorial ballot. The race pits incumbent Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earle-Sears against Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger in the race to succeed Glenn Youngkin, who serves only one term as governor by state law.
Scored Williams. An encouraging report on inflation.
The Labor Department reports that its Producer Price Index, which captures inflation before it hits consumers, showed that wholesale inflation edged down 0.1% in August. The reading was lower than economists had forecast and derails claims by Trump critics that his tariffs would cause inflation to skyrocket.
That's Ken Lorman. The report also welcomed news to Wall Street, which hopes inflation data is mild enough to ensure that the Feds cut interest rates. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Mike Gallagher, host of the Mike Gallagher Show here. Everything's getting more expensive these days, groceries to gas, healthcare. If you're feeling that squeeze, you're not alone. Listen, your biggest asset might just be the answer, your home. That's why I strongly recommend my good friends at Fellowship Home Loans. Mike and Brian and the team have helped so many families, especially in times like these, tap into their home's equity to keep their head above water, whether it's covering rising medical costs, helping out a loved one, or just breathing room in your monthly budget. They can help. You see, you're not giving up. You're just getting smart, because at the end of the day, it's about protecting your family and your future. Make sure you ask how you can skip 2 mortgage payments when you refinance. 2. Going into the fall and the holidays, that could really be helpful, right? Just go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. It's Fellowship Home Loans. Fellowship Home Loans. Mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. And of course, for dessert, I get a giant chocolate chip cookie. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by the Trolley Stop Bakery, the official bakery of the Vic Porcelli Show. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough
and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, hour number 3 of our 3-hour tour. Busy Wednesday, boy. And how great was Kenneth Abramowitz? I got to tell you, when I said the Shiites and the Sunnis have been fighting for, thousands of years, I had no idea how long it was, And he goes, oh, stop exaggerating. It's only been 1,400 years. So, yeah, he was great. So you should get his book. His book is really, really good. Well, Mark, can you go call Mark and tell him to come in here because he's supposed to be on with us, not yapping with people who work here. Ken will be back Monday. He's on a little vacation with his family. How dare he? All right, let me tell you what's going on here at the radio station. Our great friend Ethan Way is he's got a car that's a Dodge Challenger, and the entire car is wrapped in News Talk STL logo and stuff like that. And he'll be out this Saturday at the St. Anne Car Show in St. Anne Park. Great guy. Ethan's a great guy. Just go up and say hi to him, shake his hand. If you want to take a picture next to the STL wrapped car, go right ahead. He'll let you do that. And, tell him we said, hey, that's this Saturday in St. Anne Park. All rise.
From the county of St. Louis,
crime issues, economic development.
This is Mark Harder.
Well, hello, Mark Harder.
How you doing? This is different. We got somebody at the board differently.
Ashlyn, yeah.
Yep.
Kenny's on vacation.
Yeah, where did he go?
Zion.
Oh, yeah.
That's in Utah? Is that in Utah?
I think so.
Yeah. And he bought new hiking boots for the trip, so.
You don't break in new hiking boots on a brand new
No,
trip.
he wore them here for 2 weeks, yeah.
Okay, good.
And he was climbing up the walls, climbing up chairs and stuff.
Oh, cool.
You gotta be.
Cool. Have you heard from him?
No, so he could be dead for all I know.
Yeah,
he could have fell down some cavern. No.
Well, we'll find out.
I shouldn't even kid like that.
We'll find out Monday.
Ashlyn's face was mortified there. Yeah, we'll find out Monday.
Yeah.
All right, so what's new?
Hey, well, we had a big meeting yesterday on hemp. We've
been talking about this for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You guys got to move quicker on this.
It's government,
Yep.
But yes, we had a big meeting. It was a scheduled meeting. We've been dealing with new legislation that was brought by one of your favorite council people.
Let me guess, Lisa Clancy.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. And so we've been talking about it. And so yesterday was the committee of the whole. We had a lot of stakeholders on the issue were there and talk about it. It's pretty complicated. And the more we get into it and the more we talk about some of these things, it's trying to kind of, pull a ball of string apart. And so I think we had a lot of good people talking about it, and hopefully we learned about it. And we had samples there to show some of the packaging that's out there. My concern is that this stuff, the hemp products, even though it's legal, is being sold in convenience stores and non-regulated establishments.
So any kid could walk in and get
Any
them?
kid could walk in and get many of these products. Not all, but many.
You don't have to show ID for your age?
Well, you're supposed to, but it's real loosey-goosey, we're finding out. And then we find out there are actors out there that are selling this and that are calling themselves dispensaries, and they're not dispensaries. The dispensaries are those that are licensed by the state to sell either medical marijuana or recreational marijuana in these different locations.
Can they sell hemp in an actual dispensary?
They can.
So why do we? Why that's the end of the thing to me.
Well, but it's the other people that call themselves dispensary that haven't invested interest or any regulation in the hemp area.
So is part of the discussion shutting them down?
Well, it's talking about how to possibly regulate that and who should be able to sell this, and should it be behind the counter? Should you have IDs? Everybody agrees we shouldn't sell this to minors,
of course,
but it's being sold to minors, and from what we've been told, and there's so many products and there's so many lookalikes, and it's done purposely. There are that look like Skittles. We saw a packaging the other day. It looks like a bag of Doritos, and it's called Weedos.
Wow.
Okay. And it even uses some of the, colors and logo looking graphics. And it's in the same size bag as a Dorito.
And kids see, ooh, chips, let's get
Right,
some.
right. And so that's the thing that we're most worried about is these things falling into the hands of minors.
All right. So again, my little pea brain has this figured out.
Okay.
Because if they get licensed to be a dispensary for hemp, that doesn't necessarily mean they can sell marijuana as well. Is that right?
Well, no, right.
It's two separate licenses.
Well, there's not even a license for hemp. Hemp is sold out there. It's out there.
But you're trying to get them to have licenses, right?
Not so much to have licenses, just to keep it behind the counter because it's being sold in out there in racks. It's being sold in vape shops. It's being sold in convenience stores. It's being sold in CBD kratom stores, things like that. And kids are going into these places. They know where they can get it, and they're buying it. I'm seeing a head shaking over there. Sounds like we got somebody has been there before.
Have you seen them?
My younger brother is indulging in those substances.
So how old is he?
Well, he's older. He's 19.
Well, it's not 21.
But yeah.
So here's a kid under 21,
right?
Walking in and buying it in a convenience store, which I believe is what you're trying to stop.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that's good.
So we're just trying to get our hands around this and our head around this to figure out this industry. And then we find out that there's other products now. Now we've got beer manufacturers that are coming to us because either them themselves or their distributors are selling hemp infused drinks. And so that's another big thing that are out there. You go in, you get energy drinks, and then, right next to them, next case over is hemp infused drinks with either 5 or 10 milligrams per can of hemp THC.
Is that a lot? I don't know. Is that a lot?
It's enough to give you a good buzz. And so you could buy a 6-pack of it or a 12-pack of it.
And this is legal, right?
And it's legal.
Legal for adults.
For adults. And we had people from different wine stores here in town. They've got 4-foot, 8-foot sections of this product.
Mark, you're not going to get those behind the counter because they have to be refrigerated. So they're always going to be there in the fridge.
No, these don't need to be refrigerated, but they will be there. But they're being sold in a say a wine store or a liquor store where they're carding everybody anyway.
Okay.
For everything.
Right.
When you walk into a gas station,
that's true.
Unless you're buying something and your look of age, you're probably going to get it. And so we just want to make it less accessible to certain age groups of people. So that's what this is about. We couldn't get through all the speakers last night.
Wow.
So we had to cut it off at 5:30. And so we're going to have another one in a couple weeks to finish off the other people that want to speak. We probably had 20 people signed up to speak, and they each got 3 to 5 minutes each. So it took us a while to get through.
That's great news. The more people you have speaking, the better.
Well, it depends on who's speaking too. I mean, some of these people are on both sides of the issue.
Right. That's what you want.
So, and that's what you want. You want people to educate us because us, meaning the board, have to understand how to create legislation, and we need input on this.
Okay.
Unless people don't care.
I think they should care because a kid should not go in, be able to go in and buy something that, has hemp and THC in it if they're 15 years old.
Right.
Or even 19 or 20 years old.
Right. Or that because of, I wouldn't say deceptive packaging, but misleading packaging, that somebody's going to grab this and it looks like gummies and they're taking them to school and sharing it with the other kids at school. Look, I got gummies of this,
I think the other thing you were talking about, the chips that look like a Doritos logo, besides being dangerous for kids, is copyright infringement for using that kind of logo.
You would think, but a lot of this stuff comes from China. A lot of this stuff comes from overseas, and they do just the minimum amount of packaging requirement. And by the time somebody catches up with them, it's like kind of like bootleg material. By the time they catch up with them, they've sold, truckloads of this stuff.
I hate to be this guy, but who's to say there's not fentanyl in any of these things either?
Who knows? In all kinds of stuff. We're talking to people that do this for a living, where they go in, they analyze this because under state law, the marijuana people have to have all these different types of analysis of their product, and they have to be able to track from the seed to the doobie, so to speak. They have to have a whole line of where that product has been in that process.
Wow.
And be able to check that. And the state can come in and any day walk in and say, I want to look at this product, and that product, and be able to test it right there and say, is this the right stuff?
So oversight of the documentation. So if you are working in a dispensary, you are a dispensary, you need to have this paperwork readily available.
Oh yeah, because you don't want to lose that license.
Right.
I mean, you spent maybe $2 million to get a dispensary, a license, a building,
Did you
the
say
security.
$2 million?
Mhm. That's what we heard that. I mean, maybe it's more, but and you do that because you have only so many licenses in the state. I think it's like 300 or so, 325 licenses in the whole state. So you don't want to give that up. And that's kind of the pressure to keep these people doing the right thing, because they could lose that license and a lot of money.
Okay. That's enough of that.
Okay.
So is Sam Page showing up to these meetings?
Last night he wasn't there. I don't know.
I'm shocked.
I'm shocked, I tell you. Shocked. I don't know where he was last night. But no, he wasn't there last night. But we were tied with a lot of different things. We did pass last night a resolution for those seniors that are listening out there. We passed a resolution that we are not going to require seniors to re-sign up for the senior tax freeze.
Oh, that's
year
great,
after year.
actually. Yeah, because because we signed up. I got it.
Right, everybody signed up.
Because I am a senior citizen now, just so you know.
You can't believe that.
Right. I look so young and handsome. I got a new haircut.
Oh, yeah.
Handsome,
Yeah,
right?
you did. Both of them.
So that's good. That's good news.
Yeah, we hope that will actually save us some money so that we won't have to go through this whole process with our seniors. And it's been a nightmare. And for those seniors that have gone through this, we're brand new at this. I apologize. I wish I was in control of this. I was not, but we hope that by this at least first year of it, that we'll be able to show some real good tax savings to people when this thing finally figures this thing out.
And money saving for you with all the clerical work that you have to pay for.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like banging your hand with a hammer. It feels so good when you stop. That's what this is going to be for next year, is that we won't require so many employees to screen all these applications the way it's been this first year.
So it's a win-win. It's a win for the seniors and a win for saving money in the county.
Right. I just came from a school district meeting before I came on today, and they're all talking about it. It's all the buzz, we're going to lose so many $1 million to this school district or that, and I won't mention the school district. And I basically told them when my turn came around in the table to talk, I said, this thing, we've got 80,000 seniors that have signed up for this. So what does that tell you? And they know what this is, who this is going to affect. And so as a school district, I told them, I said, you've got to go back to those seniors because they can opt in or opt out of this. And if you go back to those seniors and say, our school district is the best in the state and we want to keep it that way, and please help us, they could opt out, and then that money will be saved. Won't be held against them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they have to go back and reposition their value proposition to these seniors and say, I know you live in this district, your kids are grown, but we feel that we the school district are doing a good job, and we're training up the next generation, and we'd like you to continue to contribute to that proposition. So I think the school districts are going to have to go back and resell themselves to a lot of seniors because seniors are not seeing the value.
Well, it's tough to be a senior. You're talking to a senior, of course.
And me.
And to pay taxes on something that you have no dog in that fight.
Right.
And that's the argument, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I obviously I'm biased, but I agree with that.
Or they've lived in the district 20, 30 years.
And taxes raising every year.
And they've paid that 20 or 30 years. And now they're in their golden part of their life, and they've got bills to hit, and their income has been reduced because of retirement. And maybe they're living on Social Security only, or Social Security and investments. And suddenly, they're keep getting hit with these higher assessments to these school districts and other taxing districts as well.
fixed income is a real thing.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think people have to understand that when you're on a fixed income, you're not going to get a raise from your boss because you don't have a boss. It stays like that. That's what fixed means.
Right.
So I think this freeze was great. I know some people like David Stokes hate it, but I love it.
Right. No, and it's going to take some time to shake out. I mean, I think everybody's going to have to adjust to a new normal, and the school districts are going to have to figure this out as well.
All right. Anything else on the docket we need to know about?
Oh boy. That's pretty much it. The show this weekend, we've got
The Insider
the
Show.
Insider on Sunday at 5 p.m. We've got gentleman from the St. Louis County Police Board, Mike Wild. He's one of the appointed commissioners on that police board. He will be on this week. We've got our recruiter for the St. Louis County Police Department will be on. He was on a number of weeks ago, and we got kind of cut off. He had so much to say, so we're bringing him back.
What's his name?
His name is Higginbotham.
Okay, good.
And Greg. And so very talkative, and we're going to get him back on this week and talk about the efforts they're putting forward to recruit more police. And then finally, we have Gretchen Bangert, our new council person for this area.
How's
here.
she doing? She doing good?
She's doing good. She'll be on this weekend as well to talk about, and she's a Democrat and good friend of mine, and we're getting along well on the council.
I just want to say,
much better than her predecessor.
I was just going to say, Hanaway, what was her name? Hanaway, or
Dunaway. No, you're getting all these ways. Yeah.
Dunaway.
Yeah.
She's a witch now, right? She's
yeah.
practicing witchcraft.
Right.
Her and Lisa Clancy would never come on a show like this.
Oh, no.
So that's why I give Gretchen, props for coming on the show.
They'd start getting the shakes in the parking lot.
So with Dunaway being a witch now, do you guys ever feel her presence there? Like what do they call the voodoo doll?
No, we haven't felt this. Actually, the spirit has been good in the hallway. Mike Archer, I think, had a priest come in and bless his office. After his predecessor left.
I love that.
But
you don't hear a whoosh of a broom flying by.
No, the lights don't flash anymore. It's been good. It's been a good time.
What
But
a weirdo.
No, it's been good, and the camaraderie within the council has been good, and so yes. So Gretchen's going to be on this weekend. We're going to talk about her representing this area of Maryland Heights and Hazelwood area, and what she's got in store for us and things that she's working on. And so it'll be interesting to listen to her side of the story.
Sunday at 5, right?
Sunday at 5,
right.
St. Louis County Insider with Mark Harder.
That's you.
That's me.
That's right. Thanks, man. Thanks for
Okay,
coming.
buddy. Thanks.
Right. Mark Harder from the St. Louis County Council. So listen, when we come back, we're going to talk about something in a country that I've mentioned from the beginning of this Ukraine-Russia war. What happens if Russia does anything to Poland? How quickly will Article 5 protections kick in? And it's World War. Well, guess what? We're up to Article 4. And we'll talk about that next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk. And I missed it. I was trying to hit the drum. There it is.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show. Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
It almost seems common sense, but, alas, common sense isn't so common these days.
News Talk STL.
Fall is here, and Daniel's Farm and Greenhouse has everything you need to make your yard shine. From vibrant mums and fall blooms to pumpkins, gourds, and seasonal containers that will make your neighbors jealous. Need trees, shrubs, or vegetables? We got you covered with 15 greenhouses of full-quality plants, mulch, soil, and winter protection supplies. Our family knowledgeable staff is here to help you 7 days a week. Daniel's Farm and Greenhouse, family-owned and your outdoor experts. On Juggerman and St. Peter's and at danielsfarmandgreenhouse.com.
You've worked hard for your money, so protect it. Meet my friend Bob Leslie and ask about the Gain and Retain Plan. Leslie Consulting, 40 years in the St. Louis area as a leader in brokerage and risk management. Call 314-721-0066, 721-0066. Oh, and ask Bob how he was the LA Dodger #1 pick. LeslieConsulting.com.
Jamie Allman here for O'Fallon Family Floors. Experience the passion. Oh, yeah. You can go in and see the best variety, the best pricing, the best quality, the best personalized service right there off of Highway K in O'Fallon, or you can have the store come to you. Oh, yeah. Brian and his team take great pride in running a fantastic flooring outlet, and you can get their 5-star ratings right there on Google. Just check it out. It's O'Fallon Family Floors, O'FallonFamilyFloors.com.
Remember those magical moments in Mom's kitchen? The heavenly aroma of fresh baked cookies? At Trolley Stop Bakery in Chesterfield's Forum Shopping Center, our co-op of talented bakers has been perfecting that homemade magic for 4 decades. From the gooeyest cookies in town to custom pies, cobbers, and cakes, everything's made from scratch, just like Mom and Grandma's recipes. Need that perfect corporate gift? We ship our famous cookies nationwide. The Trolley Stop Bakery, 67 Forum Shopping Center, or TrolleyStopBakery.com. Because some traditions are too sweet not to share.
The news and talk.
Mr. President, do not come to Chicago.
That matters to St. Louis.
Good morning, Democrats.
Mondani, this is a guy who wanted to defund the police just not a few weeks ago.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is Pink Floyd. One of These Days. Song that reminds me of my first rock and roll radio job. Played this all the time because we got to play whatever we wanted. It's not like now where you have to play this 200 song playlist, and that's why JC does the Wayback Machine show Saturday nights from 6 to 9. He plays stuff that you just don't hear on St. Louis radio anymore, and one of these days may be one of them. Okay. So let's talk about some serious stuff here, which scares me a little bit. When the Russia and Ukrainian war really started to get, big, I said to, and I asked more than one guest that we had on, what if Russia throws a bomb at Ukraine and they miss and they overshoot, and that bomb hits in Poland, which borders Ukraine on the other side? Even if it was unintentional, and doesn't hurt or kill anybody, doesn't matter. Article 5 of the United Nations Protection Act, or whatever they call it. So now overnight, Russia had planes flying in Poland airspace. If Russia or China or anybody else flies into our airspace, they should and will be shot down immediately. Okay. Now, why didn't that happen with the Chinese balloon? Remember the balloon that floated across the United States? By the way, traversing, so it went near all of our military installations, and General Milley said, no, let's wait till it gets across the country and then do it. Some farmer, by the way, saw it first and called somebody. It should have been shot down right there. Anyway, I'm getting that off topic. So Poland's sitting there truly minding their own business. If there's ever been a country that minds their own business, it's Poland. And they don't let immigrants in, and it's safe to walk in the streets of Poland. Overnight, some Russian drones, invade their airspace. Some air is getting under my diaphragm. I asked my wife, why do I sound like I'm drunk on the air all the time? I swear I'm not. She says, well, you get air under your diaphragm. I said, I don't wear a diaphragm. She was like, okay, I'm out. So now, because of that, Poland invoked Article 4 of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, that's what it stands for, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. That's pretty close, That's one step before the scenario that I feared, that Russia throwing a bomb and it misses, they overshoot, and they hit Poland, and Article 5 protections kick in. And that means World War III, And I think everybody worries about that. And none of it has been our fault, right? thousands of miles away from that. And it's just been a very scary situation. And you have to have, like, why were these drones over Poland, by the way? Ukraine, their enemy, is before it. You got Russia, you got Ukraine, and then you got Poland on the other side. And how did that happen? Why did that happen? Why were there drones flying over the airspace of Poland? Which, really, truly, I mean, I simplified it by saying they mind their own business, but they really are. And they're a smart country because guess what? They don't have an illegal immigration problem. Okay? They keep them out, and that's it. And, Article 4 is one step before Article 5, and they've already invoked the Article 4 protection. So, what's funny? I say that, and I don't even know what that means. I mean, I know what Article 5 means. That means we all go to war because NATO was, I know you know this, okay? I'm just in case anybody doesn't know. NATO was formed to unionize, so to speak, and help out each other in case anything happens. Because if you attack, this is the thinking behind the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. If you attack one of the NATO countries, guess what? You've attacked all of the NATO countries, and they will all come at you. And I don't think Vladimir Putin wants that. I really don't. Because if you're going to fight 14, 15 countries, or many other countries are in NATO, and every country in NATO has to, they have to abide by that, and they have to help whatever country is invoking the Article 5. So the parties will consult together whenever, in the opinion of any of them, the territorial integrity, political independence of security, or any of the parties is threatened. That's when it all kicks in. The Polish air defense system managed to shoot down 3, possibly 4 of the drones. No lives were lost. See, if there were lives lost in this, I think that would have activated Article 5 protections, and that would have been, but there was property damage. Polish F-16s and at least one Dutch F-35 were involved in the interceptions. Boy, I really think this came really, really close to being an Article 5 protection thing and going to war, world war. I mean, you watch newsreel footage, or you watch documentaries and stuff on World War II and our Allied forces on the beaches of Normandy, on Omaha Beach. We look back on it now, and it looked like a breeze, right? We just kicked the crap out of Germany and then Japan, and we won, and we look back at it and say, oh, we won, man. We did it. We're good. But when it comes to living history, or at least history, you're watching history in real time. That's the part that, whether it's a scary thing like war or a really cool thing like Babe Ruth hitting 60 home runs in 1927, right? When he hit 60 home runs, did we know at that time that would last for 40 years? I don't know if I did that right. Here we go, Ashlyn. I'm trying the math thing. See how that works. 42 years for it to be broken by Roger Maris in 1961? No, we didn't know. You just didn't know. And that was a fun thing, to have history happen before your very eyes. But when you're watching something like this, this is like air raids in England. My wife's biological mom grew up in Coventry, England, and she said that the whole city was just devastated. Buildings were gone, and that's a whole different story of history happening in real time before your very eyes. And this attack took place in the context of a Russian attack on multiple areas of Ukraine, comprising 415 drones, 42 cruise missiles, and 1 ballistic missile. My God, this came so close. Now, the more I'm reading this and the more I'm realizing it, I don't think we should just take this whole thing lightly. I think that we came pretty darn close to an Article 5 activation and full-scale world war. Boy, I don't know, man. I mean, Russia's got to go. They got to go. They can't keep this up. What made them think? What made them think that flying drones over Poland's airspace was a good idea? Because they're getting so close. And I don't think that Russia's, and this is me again, Mr. P Brain, just reading things and trying to make my own assumptions, which may not be right. I don't think their military is really as strong as they're saying it is, which means that Ukraine is worse, right? Of course they are. We keep sending them all the money. We keep sending them all the weapons and all the equipment. So I think that we, the United States of America, are absolutely in good shape. Enlistment is up hugely bigly, as President Trump has been reelected, because people like having President Trump as the commander-in-chief. And our military equipment is just great. It would have been great to have that $80 billion of equipment that Joe Biden left at the Abbey Gate in Afghanistan. That would have been great. But we know how that worked out. Anyway, we'll keep our eye on this. And I think that, whatever happens, we don't want Article 5 protections to kick in. And we did nothing to shoot those drones down, by the way. I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying that the United States was not involved at all in shooting those down. All right. We talked to the Illinois policy guy yesterday. Boy, how disrespectful is that? I'm so sorry. But let me just refresh myself on him for a minute, because yesterday after the show, I sent him a little note on X and said, "Hey, thanks for being with us, and we appreciate your time, and come back and see us again." And he had some nice things to say about the show, which was Mark Batinick is his name, and he said, "I'm going to listen to you guys as long as I can get you in the car." And I said, No, don't you worry. Just get the app and you can listen to us wherever you are. And I think he's going to. And he said he'll be back. He said, "Great show. I prepped by listening to yesterday's show. Good stuff. By the way, when I became a state rep, the first thing I did was rip the gun-free zone signs down." That was when we were having the conversation that a gun-free zone sign is the path of least resistance. That's the first place a guy who's going to shoot up a school is going to go into. Hope to have some other good stuff for you soon, you bet. So we'll have him back. But the point is, get the app, and then automatically, magically, your phone is a radio, right? You can listen wherever you are. I mean, wherever you are. We've had people listen in Spain, in Italy, and all that stuff. We're allowed to be listened to in all those countries. All right. Chat box to close up our Wednesday is next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Whoosh.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
When Tim and I went to Israel, our all things Israel and Jewish history expert was Malcolm Hoenlein, and we've got him at 5:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
When it comes to spending your tax dollars and teaching your kids, governments and school districts should be an open book. But in Missouri, that's not always the case. Recently, the Show Me Institute sent out a sunshine law request to school districts across the state, asking for information on whether certain topics are being taught. Specifically, a controversial one called critical race theory was included in the list. Many districts didn't respond. Some wanted to charge large fees to process the documents. Lee's Summit outside Kansas City wanted over $35,000. A rural district, Morgan County, wanted $15,000. The Sunshine Law does allow charging a reasonable fee for sending out information, but there's nothing reasonable about $35,000 or $15,000. These districts should want to be transparent about their curriculums. Taxpayers deserve to know what their kids are being taught. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
You and I might have something in common, back pain. I can tell you where I go for help, Esquire Sports Medicine, the spine of St. Louis. They can put athletes back on the field so they can clearly help us. Esquire Sports Medicine, hands-on chiropractic help on Big Bend, just north of Highway 40, 314-644-0885, EsquireSportsMedicine.com, EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
Fall is blazing into Warrenton, Missouri. September 20th on Main Street, the free festival that's got it all. Inflatables, petting zoo, barrel train, mini golf, bungee trampolines, all free. Local bands rock the East Stage, and the real fire starter.
Hi, this is Jody Messina.
Jody Messina live on the main stage at 7:30. Grab your crew, bring your family, great food, cold drinks, and memories you'll never forget. Warrenton's Fall Festival, September 20th on Main Street.
There was a time in my life, when I was very young, talking about 10, 11 years old, when all I listened to was Sly and the Family Stone, because I was just so enamored by them and, want to take you higher. My Aunt Doris, I had a very hip aunt. My father's sister worked for Ampex Records, and she used to. I had DJ-only records when I was like 10 years old, and she got me the Woodstock album. She got me Hair. Thank God my parents never knew about that one. And on the Woodstock album, of course, Sly and the Family Stone just absolutely rocked it at 3:30 in the morning, by the way. All right, let's go. Time for the chat box. Who's first? Of course, it's Ed Stoighton. We missed you yesterday, Ed, if that was even yesterday. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. No fair elections, no peace. No fair tariffs, no peace. Good morning, Vic Head Patriots. President whose phone rang, leave the room, Trump. Good morning, all you. Let's do this like Bernie. How about that? Good morning, all you beautiful, mega, ultra-patriotic, deplorable, Garbagian, degenerate, freedom-fighting, God-fearing, Vic-head weirdos. You bunch of weirdos. I don't know if that's a good Bernie or not, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's dry hump day, you bet. Ed says hi to Allison, so they're getting a room later. Good morning, Ed Stoic. Great to see you. Yep, they're definitely getting a room. And hello, Ashlyn. People are saying hello to Ashlyn. You have to spell her name wrong. It's Ashlyn. Two N's?
Just one N.
One N. Okay. I was pretty close, though.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Good morning, all freedom-fighting patriot Vic heads. Can't read it. He says, I just got a prostate exam, and he felt violated. Be lucky you don't have a prostate, okay? Because finding that thing sometimes hurts. It's Double Whoosh Wednesday. Whoosh, whoosh, my brothers and sisters. If someone would have tried to stop her from bleeding out, she may have lived. I agree with that. No one helped her or even reacted. That's what's so sad. I'll tell you what. The video shows her holding her neck and looking right up at the guy, like almost saying, why did you do this to me? I didn't do anything to you. And then she sits there. And I don't know, God forbid, I don't know what it's like to be hurt like that. If it's like you're in a state of shock and you don't realize what's going on. But she sat there for a while and then just slumped down onto the floor of the train and just bled out right there. And it's just a terrible story. And President Trump says death penalty for that guy. And I agree. Somebody needs to tell little Brian Stelter the white girl was the only white person seen in the attack video. This is a hate crime. And when he was sitting behind her before he got her, he said, I got this white girl. I got this white girl. So it was definitely a hate crime. Racist thing. And Brian Stelter shouldn't use the word baldly because he's baldly. Duke, what's up? Hey, Coyote, you are so correct about little Brian Stelter. If I was on the train, I would have tried to stop her bleeding immediately. Yes, Allison, she probably, if my wife were there, she probably would have maybe been able to stop the bleeding. I don't know, but she would have known what to do at least. But again, one of the reasons why nobody helped this girl and why she bled to death on that train is the Daniel Penny story. Because Daniel Penny sticking up for people being assaulted on the train, and then went on trial for murder. So people aren't going to be as willing to help others in situations like that. CCW, Carrie, if she had a weapon, she might have lived. Would it kill you? Ashlyn, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Would it kill you to hit the like button? Would it kill you?
It might kill me.
It won't kill you. Will not kill you to hit the like button. Seriously, thanks guys for hitting that like button and sharing our stuff and getting the notifications and all that. We can't thank you enough. I hit it and I'm still. Allison proves it. She hit the like button and she's still here.
She's still here?
Yeah, she didn't die. It didn't kill her to hit the like button. And help out conservative radio. We appreciate that. Only this station, of course. It's so easy. Someone needs to be indicted for lying about jobs to try to gain political advantage. Boy, I tell you what, two things. The more we look back on the Joe Biden administration, the more we know that they just lied their asses off. And second of all, everything Democrats say, the opposite is true. You don't have this chat box up, do you?
I do. I can
So
see
you
it.
see Ed Stoit, that's
Yes.
his name, Ed
Yes.
Stoit. He named himself after Ed Stoit. Everything Democrats say, the opposite is true.
That is great.
And when you listen to Democrats talk, just run it through the filter and you'll find out that they're liars. Liars! It's not lawfare if they indict, arrest, convict, and jail these fools when facts are there. If facts aren't proven, drop the charges. Holman ate Mika's lunch. Boy, he did. And she just thought she was so, she hangs around with her husband too much. That's the problem. Joe Scarborough thinks he's so smart. Remember when he told us this is the best Joe Biden I've ever seen? Boy, look at Joe. He is in such great shape. He sounds great. He looks great. So Mika thinks that she just says that stuff. That's not true. That she'll just get away with it. And boy, she did not get away with it with Tom Homan. Homan was in Fox, and they asked him about going on the leftist outlets. He said he wants to go there and hit them with facts and embarrass them. Love Homan. And they don't have him on, of course. I mean, Mika took a chance and she lost. Huge shout out to Kirkwood Auto and Truck. Brad Thiel, the owner, is a sponsor of the AmVet Smoking for Veterans Barbecue Bash at Clancy's Irish Pub in Ellisville, October 25th. Kirkwood Auto and Truck. Wish to you, my brothers. Thank you so much. Let's get some more sponsors. And again, if you're having a great year, just throw a whole bunch of money at these guys, okay? And they're helping out the AmVets. Support the AmVet barbecue. Support our veterans. I see there's Allison telling you, too. It's not even her event. Love to have AmVets to come to Washington Guard Banquet October 11th, Paul. So get those people over there. Cuba has some cool classic cars. I'm talking, that's Cuba, Missouri he's talking about, right? He's not talking about Cuba.
Cuba. They really do.
How do you know that?
I was in choir my freshman year of college,
Yes.
and we got to go to Cuba with the school, and I got to sing in Cuba on TV. Yeah.
On TV, no less.
They broadcasted it.
So how far is Cuba from here? Like 2 hours? Hour?
We flew.
Wait, you're talking about Cuba? Cuba?
Cuba.
Fidel Castro's Cuba?
It was
Wow.
crazy.
I don't think that's what they're talking about here. I think they're talking about Cuba, Missouri, which is fine, And I don't know if Ethan's going to have the car out in Cuba, but I know he's going to have it in St. Anne this Saturday. Our great News Talk STL Dodge Challenger that is driven by our great friend Ethan Way, and I can't find the damn thing that's got his name on it. Anyway, we'll do that later if we have time. Young people see socialism as getting free stuff. Yeah, and that's as good until the money runs out. Then it's no good anymore, right? That's what these government-run grocery stores are going to do. They're not going to have anything on the shelves. Supply and demand. There's not going to be a big supply. You're going to pay $100 for toilet paper like they do in Venezuela, and that's the problem. These idiot political analysts are just taking money for nothing and your chicks for free. Allison, and young people suddenly become concerned when the money runs out and they have to get a job. I've been working since I was 15 years old. My friend Sal, Ashton, you don't know about my friend Sal. He's my greatest friend in the world. He died about 10 years ago. And he and I were brothers, man. I'm telling you, we were brothers. And we worked together at this luncheonette in our town, Bloomfield, New Jersey. when we were like 14 or 15 years old. So my point is, go out and get a job. Okay, get a job. What a great explanation of Muslim religion and Islam politics. Yes, there's Islam religion and there's Islam political. Two different things. One asks you to be part of their group, and if you say no, they kill you. And that sounds drastic, but that's what it was. Great interview. Yes, he was great. This explains a lot. Louis Farrakhan, Nation of Islam. There you go. That explains why Islamic call us infidels and Muslims call us neighbors. You know, I was going to say to him, and I guess I forgot, that not every Muslim is Islamic, but every Islamic is Muslim. Legalizing any drugs that were illegal for a reason is the definition of insanity and greed by politicians. Hemp products are okay if they have minimal THC. They are loading these products up with high THC. Stop that, it says in capital letters. Yo, Vic, you're killing it this week. Wow, thanks. I do miss Ken, though. I also think the same with sports betting. It was illegal for a reason. There are people who make a living sports betting. Not easy to do at all. Those bookies know what they're doing, man. Property taxes, the never-ending government mortgage payment. Mortgage is derived from the Latin and French words mort, dead, and gage, pledge. So a home mortgage, it means until paid in full, death of the loan. In politics, it means until you die. Right, exactly right. And mort, by the way, is Italian too, right? I want those Rosato brothers dead. No, mort. Frankie Pantangeli says that in Godfather 2. I want to know if Milley was being paid off by China. Yes, Vicky, he was. I think he was a Chinese asset. Why would he call China and say, hey, if Trump's going to attack you 2 weeks before his term is over, we'll call you and let you know. First of all, really attack China at all, much less 2 weeks before he's out, and you're going to tell the enemy that we're attacking? I think that's treason, and I think Milley was a Russian asset. I also think the same. Oh, sorry. Okay, Milley gives me that vibe. He's paid and a spy, maybe. I absolutely believe that. Vic, incorrect. I was talking about country Cuba. Oh, sorry. Pardon me. They have cool classic cars over there. So you and Ed, you're all Cuba fans. They all have old cars due to the embargo on them. They don't have new cars. Oh, okay. So it's a classic car, not by design. I mean, not for pleasure, but by force. So, okay. So I want to go back. So, sorry, Ed. I didn't realize. I thought you were talking about Cuba, Missouri. You're talking about Cuba, the country. And you sang in Cuba.
I did.
How hard was it to get in and out? Customs and all that.
It wasn't too hard because I was with the school, and the administration did all the work for us.
Did you have a passport? Did you have to have a passport?
I did have a passport.
Just checking. I will probably be there. I'm also a member of the Washington Guard. There you go. Paul may be there at the Washington Guard in October. Last, Ed Stoit was first and last today. Uh-oh. My wife sent me something. I'm not sure I can read it. So I'm going to just minimize that and read it when I'm off the air because she could say anything. She's crazy in a good way. Amy says, good morning, Big Head Patriots. Good morning, everyone. It's hump day. It's dry hump day. Oh, did you do that? You put Chief Son's? Oh, good. So you want to see more about Chief Stephen's son, who we had on to kick off the show today. You can do that thanks to Ashlyn. Good morning, fam bam. Happy Whoosh Whoosh Wednesday. Hello, Kathleen. We love you. GMFFBH from Barb. Whoosh Whoosh. He viciously murdered her. No one intervened. That has to our America. You might think you're missing a word there. I mean, since the Daniel Penny thing, people are apprehensive about jumping in and saving somebody. That used to be the American way. I shall save you, ma'am. Just sit back and I'll take care of this. Can't do that anymore, or you may go on trial for murder. It's not the psychoactive THC. It's the dispensaries pushing this. Dave, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being on there. I don't know anything about it. All I know is you should be over 21 to get anything THC or hemp or pot or anything like that. I'm just saying. Good morning, freedom fighters. All right, now let me go back and read what my wife sent me and see what she says. I guarantee there's curse words in it. I guarantee it. Okay. Hold on. My PIN is being verified. I can't even see a Oh, here. Nope, that's not it. All right, where's my wife's thing? Let me go up here. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. But you know my wife. I feel like everybody does know my wife, but nobody does. Okay, here we go. Yeah, nope, can't read that. Was it just from her? Or if it was one with my wife and my... I hope you're kidding me. Did you look at that photo? Ha, ha, ha. Clearly Photoshopped picture. The hands aren't even holding the check, and whoever did this can't smell it. Epstein. Yeah, okay. So it's an Epstein thing. I think we're going to leave it at that. Is that okay? All right, we're done with that music because we're done with that. And Ashlyn, I appreciate you being in this week, and I'm sorry you had to work with me and my neuroses and everything.
You're great to work with, Vic. Great.
I appreciate that. I wish I could find the Ethan Way thing. I think I lost it, which screws everybody up here, because if they can't find it, then we can't talk about it, and that would be bad. Hold on. Let me just see if I can find it. Okay, that's the Hammond Center and Steve Forbes. You know that. Lincoln Reagan Days. That's September 27. Wreaths Across America. Get involved. There we go. But this doesn't matter now because they're not talking about cars in Cuba, Missouri. Anyway, Saturday is the St. Anne Car Show at St. Anne Park, and our very own Ethan Way will be there with our really cool News Talk STL wrapped Dodge Challenger. This car is badass before you put anything on it, and it's completely wrapped in News Talk STL. There's also is it called a QR code?
Yes.
QR code. And what do? You just take a picture of it?
You can take a picture. You can scan it. I have an iPhone.
What's the difference?
Same thing.
Okay. So take a picture of the QR code, and then what happens?
And then it should take you to
my tour app.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So there you go. And then you can be with all the cool kids who know that your phone is also a radio. Okay. So that's at St. Anne Park this Saturday, the St. Anne Car Show with our very own Ethan Way. And wherever he is, that street shall be called Ethan Way. All right. Thank you so much for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning. Jamie Allman's up next, keeping me in my car. He did it again to me yesterday. That's how good he is. I won't leave the car till he's done. And Ashlyn and I will see you again tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome
Tim
home.
Jones here. When life changes, which it does, you need someone you can trust, and that's Todd Sivia. The non-stuffy attorneys at Sivia Law specialize in estate planning and elder law with 7 convenient area locations. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL is how